All right, welcome back to the IMNerd podcast, guys. I'm your host, Freyway, and I'm here with my co-host, Kenny. And today we have a returning legendary duelist, Dale Bellido, with us. This is Dale's second time on the show, and so we're happy to have him back. We have a lot to talk about, and things have actually gotten interesting since our last recording, where one of the older formats has really picked up steam, and Konami supporting older formats. So I know you were actually in attendance at Shonen Jump Championship Edison, the 75th, back in 2010. And one of the things I did want to get from you is your experience at that ridiculously long tournament. I think it might have been 12 rounds.
Yeah, that was, I think the only tournament bigger than that before was the Philly Shonen Jump.
Yep.
And this was 50, right? Or 75?
75, yeah.
So Costa Mesa was before this too.
Yes, Costa Mesa was before it.
It was one of those two that were massive. And I remember Costa Mesa being, I guess we'll jump back to that one, but this one being a more relevant format to us now. But both being hell. But this was far better organized than Costa Mesa. Were you at Costa Mesa?
No, I did not. I have never been on a plane until 2010 when I went to YCS Atlanta. That was my first time ever being on a plane.
Yeah, Costa Mesa was not fun. It was a shit show for sure.
Oh wow. Yeah, see, I only got the coverage aspect of it where I saw everyone was playing Triple Dark Arm, and that, a playset was like $1,000. So I was too broke to be able to afford Dark Arms back then.
I got pretty lucky. So I'm gonna go into Edison really soon, but I got really lucky for that event that not many people from Toronto were traveling to Costa Mesa. So I was just like, yeah, can I borrow your one Dark Arm? Can I borrow your one Dark Arm? And I put together a deck of borrowed cards.
I mean, that's the way to do it. Honestly, like we said, I play Edison now, and I was thinking about ways to approach the format, whether I wanted to borrow decks, because a lot of people just have decks, and they're cheap too, or I could just buy the cards. And I ended up doing the most ridiculous thing ever, which is I just ordered every single deck and ordered every single card holographic, because they all come holographic now, except Cold Wave. It's buying Gilman, I think, in the whole format. But everything is so cheap. Like, you can get everything for like $1 or $2, which is a stark contrast from, the actual times. I remember Drill Warrior at that event probably was like $40 or like $25 or something crazy. And Absolute Zero was probably pretty expensive at the time. Finding Machina starter decks was actually hard, because I think that was like the newest deck that came out right before the event. And so people were talking about like the vendors were selling starter decks for more than they normally go for and stuff. And like, it's just so hard to find certain cards for that event. But that's like a thing that's always been a Yu-Gi-Oh! People rushing around on Saturday morning, scrambling to get really expensive cards sometimes. Like, oh, you have a crush card, I need a crush card. And life is crazy with that stuff. I'll never forget, I borrowed so many cards back in the day from some of my reliable friends. And people eventually got to the point where they started borrowing from me, because I just ended up with a crazy collection after a while. It was like a
funny crush card's like a myth card though, man. Only the top players had one. Like, everybody who ran into the tournament is not going to have crush card.
Yeah, well, I hope not.
That crush card was meant to win another crush card.
Yep,
right?
it's so broken. Yeah, that card, that probably the biggest mistake as far as pricing goes, because that shit, talking about a card that automatically made you win. For example, Darkened Dragon was the prize card for like around when Edison was happening. And that card was just, it's good. It wasn't game breaking. It wasn't like, if you have Dark End, it wins you another Dark End. And I think Crush card was probably the only that I can think of in my head, the only prize card that essentially guaranteed you another one. I think we did touch on that before.
Was Cyberstein a prize card, or was he just a tournament pack?
It was the first one. It was the first prize card. And you don't actually understand how good Cyberstein is till like now. Like Go format, for example, Cyberstein is a top deck.
Yeah.
So, what does it have to summon back then? Is it the Last Warrior or what?
No. You can just OTK with it. It's Master of Oz, or if you drop King Dragoon, that's so difficult to answer.
Yeah.
Or like even Gatling Dragon for game. It's interesting. If you look at the top Cyberstein deck now, it basically is a Reason Gate deck.
Yep.
Looks like Reasoning Gate, but it techs in a Stein. There's like, when it brings back the Democ, it usually adds back. It doesn't add back Diffusion. It adds back like a milled United We Stand or a milled Megamorph. It's cool. It's actually really strong deck.
Damn.
And But for Edison, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Was Cyber Twin Dragon out?
No, so Cyber Twin Dragon is the format. There's a GOAT format,
right?
SGP Boston, that has Cybernetic Revolution, but that's not the GOAT format we play.
Okay, good.
So like Exarion GOAT format includes Cybernetic Revolution, which no one plays. It's not. It's not.
Yeah. That's the Cybernetic Revolution's the next pack after like the GOAT format cutoff. I think Cyber Dragon's the next pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But yeah, what did you ended up? Oh, go ahead. So go ahead, Dale.
Yeah, I assume you're gonna ask what I ended up playing at Edison.
And that's exactly what I was about to say. Yeah.
So the deck that Jeff won with, if you look at old forms, the regionals, Lazaro and I topped Toronto with Quickdraw Dandy Boy.
Oh wow.
We were the first to talk with it, and it was everywhere. But we asked professional events not to leak deck lists.
I remember professional events. I used to follow that website because they would post only the Toronto stuff or the Canadian stuff.
Yeah. So we asked to not post. I think they ended up posting it anyways. And we were the first to, because when that set came out, whatever set it was, we had a regionals right away. And together we put Quickdraw Dandy Wire.
So wait.
On paper.
I always had it in my head that Jeff created that deck, but is that not the case?
He was the first to win with it, but we are the first. Like, if you look at regionals, you probably have to go to Yugioh.
Yeah.
We're the first to top with it.
Yeah, and that stuff is still up. Like, there's empirical evidence to support that. I just never knew that. I always assumed. So one of the interesting things is that Jeff actually posted on Duelist Grounds, like, here's the deck I'm playing for the event, and I'm going to win. And, as fate may have it, he actually ended up winning it. Yeah. And he posted his deck list on Duelist Grounds before he won. And it was like the real deal. I remember seeing it and thinking to myself, this deck does not look good. Like, I did not think it looked good enough to win a tournament. And that's honestly been like the story of my life because, like I said, Patrick Hoban has given me many deck lists that he won with. And I'm like, I just didn't think that it was that good. But then in hindsight, when I go back and play it, Triple Super Poly or Water when everyone's playing Fire and Gear Gia, like some of them are just so obvious. It's kind of mind boggling that I didn't just try one of them. Probably would have been, one again. At least one of them. They're just really good decks. But I remember him posting on Duelist Grounds, like, here's my deck list for Edison. I'm going to win a tournament. And then he ended up winning the tournament, which is so wild. And played against Gadgets of all things in the finals. That deck is shit.
I know. Holy. But, like, in reality now, I think the Gadget deck is better than the Quickdraw deck.
Agreed.
Yeah. Also, in 2022, Quickdraw sucks.
Yes.
We were talking about that, me and Fraser. I think it was off podcast. I don't think it was online.
It was definitely off, yeah.
But we were talking about, I was like, hey, we've been playing a lot of Edison format, looking at a lot of stuff. Nobody plays Quickdraw Dandy.
Yeah, Kenny did ask me that. We were playing until 5 a.m. We have like these Friday night sessions, and we'll play until 5 or whatever time. And he definitely asked me, where are all the Quickdraw decks? Like, we've played everything. We've tried every deck list from that website, the Edison website, edisonformat.com. And no one in our group decided to use Quickdraw. And it's kind of like, well, shit, that won the event. How come no one's playing it? I knew without even testing it that the deck was not good. I just knew I don't like setting monsters every single turn. And that deck does that every single turn. It's really obnoxious. And if you don't draw a Dandelion, then Quickdraw is a terrible card. Like one of the worst cards in the game. It's so fucking bad how that card is so terrible. So I didn't like, I played Kenny with it once and I was so frustrated playing it. It felt so underwhelming.
Pass.
It's just underwhelming as hell. And like you get backed into a corner where you're forced to discard like a Raikou or something to summon Quickdraw and then try to go into a play. It's just not good. I understand how it won because hindsight is 2020. So looking at it from a 2022 lens, the decks, all the decks suck though. It's not just like Jeff's deck sucked. It's like all the decks sucked. Like none of them played Upstart Goblin.
Yeah. And it's funny because at that time, from when Quickdraw came out to when Edison was, it had to have been at least a month or a month and a half. And Edison was one of the events that we don't normally test a lot, but our team was different at the time. Overdose already kind of disbanded. Like the players were no longer playing.
Yeah.
And it's even further down from when I've been playing, and we came back to like team card masters. Like we made team card masters, and we already realized that Quickdraw kind of sucked, and we kind of caught people by surprise. But then Jeff ends up winning. We're like, oh fuck, maybe it was amazing. But
So what did you guys end up playing?
I played the Flamvel Monarch deck.
Okay.
Where Claudio came from. So Claudio in Austria had a very similar deck, and we talked about it, and I was on the fence between Glad Beast and Flamvel Monarch, and I expected a lot of Glad Beast, and Glad Beast just destroys Quickdraw.
Yes.
Because you leave tokens, everything's in defense. If it's not a Raikou, like they're
like setting hamster is a death sentence.
Yeah. So I went with Flamvel because I like killer matchup to Glad Beast. Plus I had a Dark End, and it was the easiest to make level 8.
Yeah.
So, and the way I viewed it was very similar to Teledad, where I could just make mounts of level 8s, and you have to get by like a Stardust plus a back row.
Yeah.
And I could answer. So why Dark End was so strong is it could answer Stardust without having to attack.
Yep. You could just go flip Spy, summon Spy, and then summon Flamvel Magician, sync, make Dark End priority Stardust, and it's just like, yep, that shit's gone. And you can't bottomless any part of that except the actual Dark End. By then it's too late. It's just kind of like, all right.
Yeah, like the only way you get by it is if I go priority Dark End on your Stardust, then you chain bottomless and you negate the bottom with the Stardust and it comes back.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then his attack will still go.
That's a dodge in Edison that some people don't know. So this last Edison tournament, I was playing from work. So whenever it's a Saturday tournament,
that play is broken, by the way. What you just said, like that shit is so broken. I'm still thinking about it.
That's a sick ass play.
That is so bro. They go Darken, target Stardust, and you're like, I'll bottomless, and then I'll chain Stardust to negate it. And now Darken is weaker than Stardust.
That interaction is very common in Edison, where I will do stuff like Stardust bottomless, and that dodges Caius because they go Caius target Stardust, you bottomless, negate the bottomless, Stardust comes back, you beat over the Caius.
Yeah.
But you could do it with MST as well.
Yeah, no, that's sick. That is actually very good.
That is dope as fuck.
That is actually so good.
Yeah, so Stardust is very. I remember listening to your podcast, the Edison one, and there's a few things like you saying Stardust isn't as strong. I think you said something like that, but there's a lot of.
No, I don't think Stardust is very good in Edison format with 2022 hindsight.
Yeah. There's ways that like it's not as strong as we thought it was, but the interactions that you could catch people with now that are coming back into the game, like you'll walk into that once, but you'll never walk into it again.
Yeah, but you only need to walk into it once to lose a match. So it's still a broken ass thing to do. Like when you do that to somebody one time, they summon Caius and you go activate MST, target my own back row, negate it, and they're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and like I'll eat 24, no problem. Stardust come back.
Yeah. I'll take the life points don't matter. I say that shit all the time in our playtesting sessions. But I just think one of the bigger things is that and the reason why I don't think Stardust is that good is not even like because of Caius, is that like people now realize Caius is absurd in that format. Like that card is so ridiculous. It's not even just like the Caius thing and the fact that now people play triple Wing Blast and that's like common. Like you just that Diva Hero just plays Wing Blast, and that is also a card that shits on Stardust. But it's also I think some of the better decks are these combo-y decks that just summon Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragons, and not only is he and everything he brings out like too big, but those decks are very fast. Like they're very turbo-y. So if your Stardust isn't backed by a very strong trap, then you get overwhelmed. Like Stardust backed by Gamoon is not enough. Stardust backed by like one Deep Prison or one Bottomless is not enough. It's like sometimes you just get overwhelmed by these turbo-y decks, and they're more common now. Like Neuralis got top 3 at that tournament, that RBET tournament that had 144 players. That deck is so scary to me, and I've said this I think on the podcast, and I'll say it again. If Edison format gets to a point where people are playing that more commonly, I think it's going to ruin the format because there's really not much game one that you can do against that type of deck. Like my one friend summoned Stardust on me turn 1. He goes Foolish Dandy, summon Debris, make Stardust. He says 2 back rows, and I just was like trade in, upstart, do my thing, and then I went summon Phantom of Chaos. This past week. It was like summon Phantom of Chaos, and he's like, looks at his back row. I was like, what, you got like Bottomless and Oppression back there or something? And he's like, this is so dumb. And I was like, yeah, banish Neuralis, pay 1,000, your whole field goes, and it was like deep prison and bottomless with a Stardust, which normally, right, that's broken. Like that's amazing. But that shit doesn't do anything to like really ignorant because that's kind of how people like to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Now is they don't want to really play the game. They're kind of trying to just like end the game. Like you want me to go set a Raikou and set a deep prison against your Stardust and 2 backer. Like that's what you want. But I'm just like, I'm not trying to do that. Like I'm actually just trying to like I'm just trying to like end you. You don't get a chance to play. It's just I don't know. The game is obviously it's way different now. With hindsight bias and like knowing like, oh, every deck should just be better with Upstart Goblin. Like that's just one of the easy things to correct. Decks can be really, really fast. Most decks can support playing Oppression. Gravekeepers are actually playable and no one knew it at the time except McCabe. Like he actually topped the regional, but like we weren't anybody back then. So nobody, he could top a regional a million times. Nobody would take it seriously, but he was going like 7-1 at regionals with Gravekeepers before a Recruiter because Royal Tribute has been a card forever and Necro Valley is extremely good. So it's like stuff like that.
Dude, Necro Valley, somebody flipped Necro Valley on me 2 days ago on Master Duel, and I was like, I think I just lose.
Oh, shit.
I was like, I think
that card is really, really, really good. It's actually really good at Edison format in general. A lot of the decks cannot deal with that. Like, they just cannot. Like, you can't play Miracle Fusion. You can't play Hero Blast. You can't play Debris Dragon. You can't play Pot of Avarice. You can't use DD Crow. Like, there's so many things. Like, I go Steel, and you can't even Crow. You can't even Crow my Steel. I just get back 2 Gravekeepers. You can't do anything.
Yeah, and it's just the biggest pain is that Wing Blast is a card in that format.
Yes.
Like, Necro Valley on top. You're drawing blank because I'm doing all my stuff now. But like it is standalone strong, and
traps are really good in Edison format, which is so like it's annoying for any futuristic player. Anybody, all of us who are playing Edison format now. We're used to a game without traps, without real traps, without traps that get set. We're used to hand traps at best, hand traps. And in Edison format, it took me a while to get acclimated. Not a while, but like I just have to come to terms with the fact that people setting multiple back row is just good, but it's also bad because this format has Cold Wave, True Nate, and Heavy Storm.
Yeah.
It's the whole format is just frustrating to me. Like the entire thing is like, oh, I could play a deck like Hero Beat, and I could go summon Alias set 4, and like that's really good. But then some fucking Dragon Turbo player or just I don't know any player really could just be like Cold Wave or True Nate or whatever, and then that one turn they get through. You know how it goes. You with a combo deck, you get through one time and those decks fall apart. Like you said, you wing blast the Necro Valley. It's like, well, I'm fucked.
Yeah, and when I listened to your Edison video, and one of the things that you did say that I agree with is Red MD is probably a large key to this format. And I don't know if you looked at, so you're looking at the Edison format website, right?
Yeah, I love that website. I think that shit is such a great resource for people. It makes it easy to get into Edison.
I don't know how far back they go for coverage. Is it just one tournament, the 1K celebration?
So
so they go back to just the November tournament.
But they have deck lists on here from like all over though. Like when you click on the categories of decks, they have a lot of different stuff.
I want to forward you to something else. I don't know if you're aware of Format Library.
No, I don't think
Format Library is where Edison started.
Okay.
So, Format Library.
They have a Discord,
channel,
right?
Yeah, so the Discord channel actually has all the retro formats.
Yep.
Like in this Discord, the retro formats are all there and have live players.
Yeah,
right?
I just got added to that Discord this week. Like literally 3 days ago, one of the guys in the IMNerd Discord added me to Format Library.
Yeah, and Format Library has like even the format that I want to show and jump in.
Yeah,
people play that format.
Okay, what is that specific format? Is it some form of goats?
It's right after goats, so it's called Reaper format.
Okay.
But like there's an audience for that, and Retro Yu-Gi-Oh has kind of been like alive for so long, and Format Library goes back even further.
Yeah.
To, like when I first played Edison was over a year ago, playing from work, and with Diva Hero going into top 16 with 100+ tournament, like 100+, right? So there's a lot of people, and at the time, I was about to load up, and I'm like, "Oh, what's the?" I first loaded my Flamebell Monarch deck, and just got clapped.
So is
And
Flamevale Monarch not good now? Is that I didn't even know that.
too slow.
Yeah, that's how I
It's just
feel. I honestly feel that way about a lot of the decks. I think so many things are bad. Like I think Torrential Tribute is a terrible card. I fucking think that card is garbage. I pretty much don't play it in any deck. It's so bad. And that might bite me in the ass when I play it like one of these online tournaments. People are like, well, Fraser doesn't play Torrential, but I think that card is trash. Like a lot of the decks are really slow. They set too many monsters. I actually let this we're gonna go off on tangents a lot here, but I laughed at one of my friends because we were playing a match at tournament in real life recently, like 2 weeks ago, and it got to a point where both of us were kind of low on resources and kind of top decking. We both had maybe 2 cards each. And I remember saying to myself, I was low. I was so low in life points. I probably was at like 1100. And I said, I am not scared of you at all. You're going to draw and you're going to set a monster. And I laughed at him and he drew and started laughing and set a monster. And I was like, that's all your deck can fucking do. And then he flipped up Raikou, target my background. I chained it was Hero Blast and I got back Alias. I was like, you still can't kill me. I said, you just drew a card and you still can't kill me. And he sets another monster. I said, your deck is fucking garbage. Your deck is fucking garbage. All you do is set. You can't do anything. I said, you won't even summon your goddamn Raikou to attack me. I'm at 1100. It was so funny. I was just laughing at how bad, like, all the decks are so funny to me. But I was like, you probably just set Snowman Eater and just hamsters, like all these monsters that you got to keep setting. And then even when they get flipped, like the value isn't as crazy as you think. Like I summon Stratos and search and then attack into your Raikou. Like that is not good for you.
Yeah. And another key to the format that I think, so I also got not a funny story, like it ruined my Edison event, but I think a key to the format is your deck needs to be able to access Army Arm, Colossal Fighter, OTK.
Okay.
Because like you need that to answer like an absolute 0 to play past it. Like obviously maybe set up a Stardust so when it blows up you protect your field.
Right.
But if you could set up a Stardust, you could probably look for a way to set up Army Arm OTK.
Yeah.
Army Arm Colossal Fighter. And that's why I like Diva Hero over Value Turbo. I think they're both very good decks.
Yeah.
They're both, like tier 1, but you can there's easy setups.
Yeah, Value Turbo kind of sets itself up to get OTK'd.
Yeah.
Like if it doesn't have a good back row, if you just summon your 2300 guy and attack me for 4000, which is just Grepher that guy, and that's a common play for them to do. They pretty much, I actually keep losing to that deck in my local, but every time I play against it, I am playing like some bullshit. The first week I played Diva Hero, but it wasn't Diva Hero that was a good list. It was just like McCabe said, here's some Diva Hero cards, and it had like Spy in it, and I forget what else, Gold Sark and stuff like that. It was not a good build of Diva Hero. And I got clapped. Well, I didn't get clapped. I guess game 3, it came down to him flipping Oppression. I was summoning Cyber Dragon, and he flipped Oppression.
Yeah.
And I was like, honestly, I sided out all of my back row hate against you, and I'm not even gonna pretend like I can like out that. So I just scooped. Like the game was one play. He went summon Grepher, send Vayu, send Sirocco. Set back row pass. I went summon Cyber Dragon. He went activate Roll Oppression. I was like, that's game. Like, I'm not even going to try to play it out. It's the same thing as you OTK me in 2022, taking 10 minutes to do it. I was like, that's the same exact thing. You just set up Unbreakable Board technically. Like, I didn't want to keep in shitty MST because game 1 and game 2, he basically set no back row. And so my read was like, this guy doesn't really play back row that much. And I don't want these deck cards. I literally had a dead heavy storm game 1 or 2. I forget which one it was, but it was just dead. And I was so frustrated. I was like, okay, I'm taking these out because I don't know. I was like, I don't know if he even plays back row. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he only plays them when he's going first, and then when he goes second, he takes them out. Which, that makes sense, right? Like, I don't expect him to have roll oppression in when he's going second. But then game 3, he probably sided in oppression or already had oppression in there some kind of way. And yeah, I got clapped. So I was like, all right, well, that's kind of annoying. But Vayu Turbo it's kind of frustrating to play against because they have all of these blowouts. All of these like one card, like for example, every time they draw Burial or Dark Armed, those cards are just obnoxiously powerful. And in priority with Dark Arm, he caught me off guard with that. I didn't know, this was my first week playing, and I completely forgot 12 years ago that was a thing. So he went summon Dark Arm, and I had Bottomless, and I had Starlight Rose set, and he goes Social Dark Arm, and I was about to flip Bottomless instantly. Because just the last Yu-Gi-Oh! I played, which was honestly, it's crazy, it's almost been 6 years since I played regular Yu-Gi-Oh! But Priority's been going for a long time. So in my head, Priority's not even a thing. So he went summon. Thank God he went activate Priority, target this. He targeted the Bottomless, and I just Bottomlessed it. But that was almost a disaster. That deck has like a lot of those cards that I just hate. Like the one Gale, right? Like the one fucking Gale is so obnoxious too. It's just like, god damn it! Like that card actually outed. Like you went Sirocco Gale, half my Stardust, and I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, it could do a bunch of stuff. Like even making Armor Master is massive too.
Yeah, it's good.
So,
The deck is like you said, it's definitely a tier 1 deck. Diva Hero, I hate Diva Hero. I cannot vouch for that deck at all. I hate it. I always feel like it has these swingy. It's very swingy. I'm staring at the deck list right now. The guy that got second, who's been performing really well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with his deck. I'm not shitting on his deck or anything like that. I think his deck list is fine. I actually played the card for card the second week of Edison format at my local, and it was fine. But I do think that it has problems that I don't know if they're solvable because of just the card pool that you have access to. And like I mentioned, my biggest frustration is that you got to have water, and you got to have heroes, and you got to also draw miracle fusions. You got to do all of those things. And it's not easy to do all of those things sometimes. Sometimes you just draw half of your deck. And that is like double Infernal Prodigy is so bad. Like I hate it. I understand why you play it. You play triple Kais and you play Diva so you can arm your arm easily, right? Like you can just go Infernal Prodigy, Diva, kill you. But like people are just smarter in my area. I don't know if it's like the bias of my area. Like I'm literally playing against fucking McCabe and Silverman. Those are the people who are in my tournament. So like they're not stupid. They're not like gonna leave some of the situations that people just walk into. They're not doing that. And so I just end up in these frustrating situations where I'm like, I have Infernal Prodigy in my hand and I hate this card so much.
Yeah. There's just like the way I look at Diva Hero is it needs to play 2 different ways till it gets there.
Yeah.
Like it's but when it gets there, it's like it's game.
It's broken. Right? So it's funny you say that. Like the games where I go Summer Stratos, set Wing Blast, go, I kill you on turn 2.
Yeah.
I'm like Summer Stratos, set Wing Blast, go, you go set back row, set monster, go, I go in phase Wing Blast, target your back row, spin it back to the top, discard malicious, draw, banish malicious, summon Diva, kill you, Miracle Fusion, you're dead. Like literally, I had multiple games that ended exactly like that. Like that was my turn 1. There's like Stratos with a back row, and then turn 2 they're dead. And those games feel amazing. It makes it feel like it's the best deck or like one of the best decks. It makes it feel great. But then there are games where my hand is just like Snowman Eater, Gores, like some traps, and then maybe some Miracle Fusions, and there's no hero, and I don't see Stratos for a long time, or just like any hero.
You got Gilman in there too. You got young Gilman in the opening hand.
And I'm just like, god damn it, my deck sucks.
No, I feel that, and there's some cards that I think could be considered, like Fishbark Blaster.
Mm-hmm.
Like Fishbark Blaster in the deck. If you have Fishbark Blaster and in deck and Diva Future Fusion, that's Army Arm OTK.
By itself?
Yeah, by itself.
So
because you bring out a Gale, you bring out a Galeman,
yep,
and then you banish a
Diva,
malicious.
yep, Diva makes that's actually amazing.
So, but the Infernal Prodigy also is if you have Infernal Prodigy and Diva Future, you need more cards for that one, but this one's just 2 cards.
If you just have access to a malicious or that's the same thing.
Yeah, or fitting Caius, for example, something like that. It's just finding that, and the other way you can kill people that people forget is you equip Army Arm to your own guy and just your game.
Yeah, Armor Arm's really good. The card is really good. I have such a love-hate relationship with Diva Hero because I do think that it is like a good deck in Edison format, and it just has these really frustrating things where I feel like there's like synergy, right? But then there's also some things that just don't have synergy. Like drawing the discard traps, because the guy plays 3 Wing Blast and a Raigeki Break, right? So that's him saying that I want to draw a discard trap every single hand. But sometimes you draw them, and obviously you don't have good cards to discard. And in Edison format, because it's so grindy, going neg like that can be so bad against certain grindy decks.
Yeah.
Like going neg like that is so trash when you're just like, I have to Wing Blast here and I have to discard a real card. It feels awful.
100% agree with that. But I think that's when you play. So the way I look at Diva Hero is similar to the way I view Teledad. Is if I can make my Stardust get my +1s, like if all I need is a resolve, like a Snowman Eater face up, and then a Diva, like I don't have a great hand, but that turns into a Stardust with good defensive trap. This Stardust nets me +1s, right? Each turn. Dodge with it till I draw out of it. And I think Diva Hero is a very good draw out of deck.
Yeah.
Like you can, the deck is fair, but it's strong fair.
Yeah, it's explosive. It's very explosive. And the interesting thing, so me and Scott Page recently came to Philly to support Christian Arena's new store opening. And so me, Scott Page, Silverman, we all went out to dinner. And I think Henry, who also won a Shonen Jump Championship from what I understand, Asian guy, I just met him for the first time. I think he's like a really big vendor in California. But he came as well, and we were all just talking about, Edison format and stuff like that. And me and Scott both agreed that the Hero Beat deck is actually just kind of crazy. Like
it is.
Because traps are so good, Hero Beat is kind of wild. And Skill Drain's also wild, and Oppression's wild. And these are cards that if they go unanswered, you just lose.
Yep.
Like I'm looking at the
agree.
Yeah, those, and I usually, it's weird. Because I would consider Heroes to be kind of anti-meta if you think about it. It's maining Skill Drain, so that's definitely it's anti-meta. But it's an anti-meta deck. But then I could easily see this being like it's really a meta deck in this format. Like it's strong. It plays Stratos and it goes set 4. And that is just so intimidating. And then obviously if you want a heavy storm, you're scared of getting Starlight Roaded because that's just game. There's like so many things. But then playing that deck, every time your opponents get like a Cold Wave off on you or a True Nade and they summon a bunch of big shit, it's just like, I lose.
Yeah, like that's a deck, for example. If I get a Stardust out, I win.
Yeah.
They can't do it.
Yeah, right? Stardust for that deck is extremely hard because they have to have such a specific thing to get rid of Stardust. Like it has to be you attacking into a deep prison and being slow, or them having like honest and you not having a response to their attack with Alias, because I assume that most people who summon Alias are probably just gonna be like attack. And just like but typically Stardust is very hard to deal with in this deck. They do have outs. Like I really like the 4th place deck, the Gia's deck will plays like Skyscraper and the one Captain Gold.
Yeah, so it could beat over it.
That card is so randomly. So I play Hero Beat my 3rd week of Edison, and Skyscraper got me out of a lot of weird situations that I didn't respect it. I was like, I want to take out Captain Gold and Skyscraper. I feel like these are the 2 worst cards in my deck. But then so many situations like Titanial, turn 1 Titanial. And I'm just like Alien Skyscraper attack, and like that gets you out of Titanial. It's so wild.
She can be so frustrating to out, especially in the 1 plant deck. Our friend Gary's been playing it.
The Amorales Burn. It's funny. I just got one today. One of my $40 Amorales things. These fucking things are $40 each because they literally do not come in any other rarity. I think it's only been printed 1 time in RGBT. I don't know what that
is.
Raging Battle. Okay. Raging Battle. Yeah, this is 1st edition, and I went on TCG Play to order these because I ordered every deck. I spent probably $3K. Well, I spent like $4K now at Edison because I have every deck. And me and Kenny were on the phone until 4 a.m. And I bought I wanted to have my whole extra deck ulti and just super nice.
Yo, the conversation was so funny. We're sitting there and he was like, "Oh, I just want to see how much this one costs." Okay, I'm just putting them. And he was like, "I'm just putting them on my cart. I just want to see what, I'm not going to order them. I just want to see how much it costs. But I'm not going to order them." And then he's like, okay, like, oh, I got ulti Colossal, I got ulti this, ulti that. He's like, oh, my cart's like 700. And he's like, oh, I forgot this one. He's like, oh, it's like 900. He's like, I'm not going to order it. I was like, Frazier.
My friend,
who are you lying to?
My friends know me too well. The next day I was like, yeah, so I ordered the whole extra deck in the highest rarity. Like I ordered fucking Brionic Dual Terminal, Goyo Guardian ulti, Stardust Black Rose ulti, like everything is just the max rarity now. And I think I'm about to do something even crazier, but we'll see. I
wanted to say though, that plant deck, which as far as I know, nobody played that in 2010.
No.
That plant deck is so fucking frustrating. I mean, if you have Titano on board with 2 Dandy tokens and that fucking Amorales thing, like, outing Titanial is so fucking frustrating.
Yeah, it is. And she keeps coming out in the game multiple times. She's actually really obnoxious because of DDR. And so, like, when you bottomless her or deprison her, if they, like, choose to blatantly let her get, or she just gets banished anyway because of the way the deck plays, like, Amorales banishes her. The deck is surprisingly good. I thought it was a rant. I thought it was a mistake that it topped the tournament. But when we went and played it, so it's Carpath's deck, it got 5th. I like every deck that topped this tournament, by the way. They're all unique. I think Zombies is probably the worst one. But like every deck that topped this tournament outside of the Zombie deck, I think is so cool that they're all so different. And this is the most unique shit I've ever seen. Like I've seen the Rallis before in real life. I remember my one friend was playing at Edison, and his build was obviously not very good, but I was familiar with Neuralis back then, but I never saw anything like this volcanic counter nonsense that just burns you, and it puts you in a situation where you get to a point you can't even attack them anymore because you're so low. So you have to like poke at them with like a Sangan and hope to God that they never do anything, because they can just crash apparently too. It's so weird. It's such a weird deck.
The other thing that's rude about the deck is she kills herself if she attacks. The fucking plant. It's a 2200, or no, does it have 0 attack, 2200 defense? I don't remember.
It has 2200 attack. It has 2200 attack.
So it's 2200 attack. If she attacks, she kills herself. If she dies, she does 800 burn damage. If she exists in the end phase, she re-special summons herself.
So she does 3000 damage just by attacking. Yeah.
She's so, and then she just comes back.
And the deck has amazing synergy. Like I honestly have to give it to the guy who made this. I think the only thing that this deck needs that was forgotten is the Breed Dragon. I think I don't really care for Morphing Jar, especially because you're not playing a lot of back row, so it's kind of like, you know how Morphing Jar is. It's one of those cards that you can be fly with it and try to go set and hope to God they just follow up with set, and then you go draw set everything. But in general, I don't like playing Morphing Jar. But I know probably no one saw that shit coming. I wouldn't see it coming because no one in my locals plays Morphing Jar right now. I kind of forgot that it's
illegal. I
didn't
realize Morphing Jar was legal.
Yeah, it's legal. It's not. I wouldn't say Morphing Jar is good though. Like there's too many Caiuses running around. Like I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable setting it. But it, you know,
a lot of sets for dogs, though.
They do. They do. They do. They 100% do. I'm just saying that in this deck, he only plays 4 traps. So if you go set a monster set 4, then I'm looking at you sideways like, well, that's just a Morphing Jar now.
Yeah.
So it's I don't like it being that obvious. If you play Morphing Jar and Diva Hero, you can get away with it because no one's going to actually see the Morphing Jar coming, because you could go set 2 and they're real traps. But this guy just plays like 3 real traps. Like when technically trap dust you're going to activate that in the draw phase. So and Torrential fucking sucks. So that card, I don't even count that card. So
yeah, it's funny you say that because like Torrential is also and even older format, Go format is not seeing as much play as like when you look at Go format, you're like, yeah, there was 15 staples. There's no longer.
There's definitely not 15 staples. Yeah.
I felt that way when we were playing Edison. I was talking to Frazier because I remember back then, Sangan, for example, it didn't matter what deck you played. I feel like everybody was like, you have to have Sangan in your deck. I was talking to Frazier. I was like, hey, I'm looking at my deck, and you might call me crazy, but I don't like Sangan in it.
Yeah.
And Frazier was like, no, I actually kind of agree with you. I don't think Sangan really works with your deck. I was like, he's just too slow.
Yeah, he's not as good as, like, a lot of the cards people thought were staples, and they're just not. Like, they're just simply not. Sangan is definitely one of the ones that's up for debate. Like, it's, depending on what your deck is, he's just not very good. Torrential Tribute, I feel very strongly that Torrential Tribute isn't that great. I don't think Mirror Force is that good either. A lot of the traps, they get buffs if you have a Stardust, but like, get your Stardust out first and then we'll talk. Like, some of these...
You have Mirror Force in your deck and not Deep Prison. I think Deep Prison is definitely
Deep Prison hurts every deck. Deep Prison hurts every deck way more. It hurts you so much. Like, I've played games that I almost lost a game, or I did lose the game because it was Deep Prison specifically. Like, I'm attacking with Alias, and they're like, Deep Prison it. And I'm like, fuck, that cuts off so much of my deck now. Like, you just cut off Miracle Fusion. You just cut off Hero Blast. Same thing with Diva Hero. Like, sometimes you'll attack, and it'll be a fucking Deep Prison like that. Specifically getting rid of my hero, and that's just, like, somebody Deep Prison my Stratos, which I thought was crazy, because it was like the first week I played. But it ended up fucking me nicely. I didn't have a hero. I have a hero. And I was like, damn, I didn't expect that. Like, you fucking Deep Prison that minus, you went -1 so fast. You were adamant about going -1. He's like, yeah, I don't feel like later down the road he comes back with Ocean and all that shit you do. And I was like, I get it. And it hurt. It actually hurt. I couldn't even lie. I was like, like I couldn't see myself Deep Prison against Stratos, but when he did it, and I was like, yeah, you know the matchup. Like, if you think about it, why wait till Absent Zero comes out? Like, why not just get rid of the... I don't want
a hero in your graveyard. But if I can keep the heroes out of your fucking graveyard.
Yeah, it was good. I was like, all right, well, you got me. And he fucking bottomless Alias. I was like, yeah, okay, so if you banish all of my heroes, I am going to lose. You got me. Like, if you fucking banish every single one of them, I am going to lose the game. I promise you.
I can't wait from 6 months from now when the old pros, like yourself, come back to this format and put in the work that they did to GOAT format. Like, GOAT format is not... It's solved in the sense where there's 4 really strong decks.
Yeah.
I don't know how often you follow Gold format, but I know that enough that Chaos Turbo is like tier 1.
Yep.
But there are 2 tier 1 decks, and the 2 tier 1 decks in Gold format are Chaos Warrior and Turbo. And Warrior completely shits on Turbo.
Okay.
Like, no chance.
What does Warrior play that makes it so good against?
Warrior Blade Knight, level 2s, triple Dust Shoot, triple Solemn.
Oh, triple Dust Shoot is so ignorant, yeah.
And that's the only deck that can get away with playing triple Dust Shoot. And it dodges Dust Shoot itself by setting its whole hand.
Yeah, that's annoying. That's also good against the Reasoning Monster Gate deck.
Yeah, I mean, so the top 4 decks. So Go format has had world championships, their own world championships, 2 years running, and the first year Turbo won, and the second year Panda Burn won. So Panda Burn is one of the best decks in the top 4 decks right now.
Damn.
So it's and it was a huge evolution from 2020 to 21. So when I came back to Go format in 2019, so to qualify for their world championships that they have, you have to finish either first and second in like one of these online tournaments that have a lot of people, but invites don't get handed down. So people just like keep getting invites because it gives you seeding points. So I managed to come second on my 1-2 week vacation or 2 weeks off during the pandemic when it first started.
Yeah.
And then I was back to work right away on like a skeleton crew at my store. But in that time I managed to qualify. But and that was with GOAT format. And that was with GOAT control, like a regular GOAT control deck. But even at that time it was pretty evolved with maining Solemn Judgments and Abyss Soldier. But it's got to a point where at the end of that Worlds, so that Worlds, I finished second in 2020. So I finished second, losing to Chaos Turbo in the finals. And the evolution from then till now is only 4 real decks. And Panda Burn took, I want to say, 4 spots of the top 8 of 2021. And if you're not familiar with the Panda Burn deck, it's I'm sure you are. It's like Ojama Trios, Gakugiri Panda.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Gakugiri Panda is so cool. He like can't be changed or something like that. And he can attack directly, or like he kind of gets attacked based on the number of tokens or something like that.
Yeah, he has trample. Like he has piercing.
So you give them Ojama Trio and then he starts beating on the tokens and trampling over them, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, for example, Chaos Turbo, right? Chaos Turbo, you've seen the deck list where it's like you see Gravekeeper Spies and Decoy Cheese and Flip Summons, right?
Yeah, a lot of flip summons.
A lot of flip summons.
Thunder Dragon, it plays Thunder Dragon, right?
Yeah. And all you have to do is let them resolve a spy and then Ojama Trio them, and they can't do anything. You get to draw all your burn traps.
Yeah, they have their borders just stuck.
I guess that's just a game, right? If you play into that, you just lose.
Yeah, I think you would like GOAT format more outside of just like playing what's out there, because GOAT format also just had a 130-person tournament the week after Edison.
Yeah, here's the problem with Go format to me, because I do have gripes with Go format. It's just fucking boring. So as much as like, everyone loves the format and it's been the most played old format, I'm glad that we're finally moving past it. Like I'm so ready for the whole community to rally behind anything else besides Go format. I'm so sick of it. It's been almost 20 years. Like we're literally it came out 05 and now we're in 2022. So it's been 17 years. Like I'm so ready to never play GOATs again in my life. Like I'm good. I don't care if it's not solved. I don't care if it is solved. It's boring, and it is way too many big brain people with their one normal summon per turn talking about how good that format is. Like I'm not trying to hear it. I'm so ready to be like past that. Like I need a little bit more going on with the extra deck than maybe Thousand Hours are still coming out. It's just not for me. Like I've played it a lot. I'm really good at it. Like I understand how to grind resources and all that, and I probably will lose the Panda Burn deck by flipping my spot.
You just want to synchro summon.
I want to synchro summon. But I don't just want to synchro summon. I want to summon a lot of times, and it feels nice. Like I just kind of like I like doing all these. There's just so many more cool things that happen the longer Yu-Gi-Oh goes on. Like, and then it gets a little too cool. But like, we're right before it gets too cool. Like 2010, because the next year, 2011 is Exceeds, and then it starts getting a little too cool. Like
It starts to get cool as fuck.
Well, even before Exceeds, so I think what makes Edison really unique, it was just one Shonen Jump for this specific event because the next event was Infernity, right?
And Frog FTK technically.
Yeah.
Like so, no one knew. We were all stupid, but no one understood that Frog FTK was actually like for that first ever YCS that Peter Chang won. We should have been playing fucking Frog FTK. That deck, it would have been a free win to whoever had it.
100%.
Yeah, it was so broken. But most people play Infernity and X Sabers.
So the reason why, like, why my deck choices always kind of revolved around Stardust. Like we when we went to Teledad, we're like, this is broken. You protect Stardust, you win.
Yeah.
So we did that with the Rainbow Monarch deck. You protect Stardust, you win. And Infernity was similar. Make a bunch of big level 8s, you win. Right?
Yeah, that deck was broken when it came out. 3 Infernity barrier.
Yeah, it was triple launcher. Like,
oh my god, that deck was broken.
And that was the one deck I don't think you could play Upstart in because Upstart doesn't trigger. Infernity Archer.
Yeah, no,
that's the only one where like Frog FDK should have definitely been playing it. I don't think it played. It might have played. I'm not sure.
I don't think I didn't look at that. I don't recall. I feel like it played Hand Destruction, and then like a bunch of Moray Agree X3. But that form, right after.
For sure played Upstart.
Yeah.
There's no way that was overlooked.
You think so? You think it played Upstart?
I think so. If it was to a point where they were playing Hand Destruction, I'm sure it was.
I think FTK decks always played Upstart.
I just feel I don't know. It's been, forgive us if we don't remember history of 12 years ago. But like, I played Frog FTK at locals a lot. I talk about it all the time because I think it's one of the funniest experiences I ever had where I just kill people, then game 2 they start siding all heavy, and I say you can just like stop siding. I'm just going first in game 3. Like game 3. Like you win game 2. I don't even care about what you're doing. Like just don't side to go first. Just don't think you're going first this round. Side to go second because I'm going first again. But
I love that. No, you got game 2. Excuse me. No, you got it. You got it. Game 3.
It probably did play Upstart. I just don't remember. I remember a lot of the cards in it, but I know Upstart kind of can conflict though in my head because you played 20 frogs, and I think Mash Driver and the 20 frogs is 8,000. So that's the reason why I don't think it played Upstart, because the math has to work out. At the end of the day, you can't win through 11,000. That is a fact. That is an absolute fact. So you might be able to win through 9,000, which means that one Upstart is fine. But I don't think you can win through 9,000 or 10,000 in one turn, unless you're playing. Your deck will have to just be worse, right? You just have to be playing so many more frogs than a conventional build. And at that point, I'd rather just cut the Upstarts and just make my deck more refined in general. This is what I think in my head. Now, I could be completely wrong. We pull up a deck list and this shit has 3 Upstarts in it. I'm just eating my words. But I think it did not play Upstart Goblin. I think only because of the frog. But let me see. Maybe I'm tripping. Frog FTK deck list 2010.
I looked that up. I want to ask both of you guys a question. As far as I know, this was not popular back then, and it's not very popular now. But I do see some deck lists doing this in modern Yu-Gi-Oh. And I wonder if this could be applied to Edison or if this is something that was overlooked back in the day. But 60 card decks, that the idea of the decks is that you play more starters and more extenders, and because your deck is bigger, you have a smaller chance of drawing your bricks, but you have just your chance of drawing your combo starters are still just as high.
I think that doesn't work now because you're what you're trying to do in regular Yu-Gi-Oh or in new Yu-Gi-Oh, if I could be wrong, is your extra deck. You're just trying to get to the extra deck, and you're trying to link climb or whatever, and it's just how do you get there? And you're accessing the same things versus drawing into them. Where and you got to draw into your stuff, right?
Yep.
Where now it's just, I think Billy and Frazier did it with his Metal Foe thing deck, where you went over 40 cards.
I went 51. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of cards that I don't want to draw, but they're broken ass cards. So like you just play a lot more, and that makes sense for that if that's what you're going for. I just sent you guys a link to Rodrigo, who won 2010 European Championship. It's first place deck for Frog FTK, and it did not play Upstart Goblin. I thought I was like,
I guess it has to do with right? It definitely has to do with the math.
Yeah, it's you play 20 frogs. I remember like vaguely like 20-year memory of that format, but like vaguely remember that you needed them to be at 8,000 if you're trying to kill them in one turn because you play 20 frogs. Sometimes you play 21 frogs, but 8,400 is no different than 8,000 at that point. Like 9,000 puts you out of range, and then your deck just kind of falls apart.
Yeah.
Unless you do like you can do so game 2 and 3. Me and Alistair, when we used to play the deck, we would try to play slower if we did want to play game 2 against somebody to be respectable. So what we would do is we would just summon five monsters, and one of them be a flip flop frog. You get 2 dupe frogs, a substitute would stay on the field, and then like one other monster, probably another flip flop frog. So you got like 2 flip flop frogs, 2 dupe frogs, and a substitute. Turn 1.
Yeah.
And you just look at them and you be like, all right, go ahead. Then they can't do anything. There's nothing you can do to that. And then you just like pass, and then we go flip flop frog, bounce your monster, a Unifrog attack you now, like substitute, bring out Unifrog, but pop your back row, main phase 2 mash driver, kill you.
Yeah. I remember that. And then so what else I would try to do, because we all had our pocket frog FTK deck that we never play at local. But game 2, I'm like, you know how I'm gonna try and win? I'm gonna try and beat you with spamming synchros or the Colossus Fighter army arm kill.
Yes, that was another one. Like if you wanted to be respectable and play like so, I think I mentioned this in the episode that we were talking about the whole episode we did on Edison format. McCabe and I, we were playing Magic the Gathering at the time because Yu-Gi-Oh was so bad because Infernities, X Sabers, and Frog FTK were just running amok, and then there were and people who didn't play those 3 were playing anti-meta. And those decks were also toxic. So, and I think that ended up winning Indianapolis, sadly to say. Like, some guy, Anthony something, just like won with fucking Doom Cow, Fossil Dyna, Banisher of Radiance deck, which was just like, the tournament had to be awful if that deck got first. Like, his deck is unplayable under normal circumstances, but like, everyone wanted to be ignorant. Everyone showed up and was like, I'm playing Infernity. I'm trying to go first. I'm trying to win. I'm playing fucking X-Sabers. I'm trying to go first. I'm trying to just go summon Bogart Knight, summon Pashul, Hyunlei, Fall Troll thing, kill you. Like, everyone's trying to just kill you. And so his deck is just like, summon Banisher Radiance set 4. It's like, well, yeah, I guess that my Dark Soul, my Ember's Blade don't look so good now. Like, I played against him.
Did you at that event or?
Yep, at that event I played against him round 2, I think. He had a lot of tattoos. He's a big guy. He's a husky.
Yeah.
Like he rides
he was
bikes.
around for a long time. Like I've seen him at a lot of the East Coast events.
Yep. He got me good.
Funny that I have like a tie-in to that event to kind of what you talk about in like an earlier video where you and your group are so into like you have your own Discord for the DC deck building game, right?
Yes. Yep.
So we kind of had a game like that, and I don't know if you ever heard of Monopoly Deal.
No, never
Monopoly Deal, a very good like resource management type of game.
Yeah,
and it's like $5. You can buy it at Target. I would suggest you pick it up.
Okay.
And it's very intricate, where you're only allowed three plays a turn, and there's like negates, and it's
I have
very
one
simple.
question. Because Monopoly is banned from my house because Monopoly causes people to fist fight. So I just want to know, because this game has Monopoly in it, does this game cause people to lose their friendships in the fight? Or is it more tame?
No, it's a very technical game. Super technical game. Well, you know how you could end Monopoly, right? Like there's a hack to, well, you'll probably never play it again, but like Monopoly's already broken. You can't play it. Because if all you have to do is just never upgrade from house to hotel.
Yeah, you just always buy houses.
Exactly, and then it's just the game's done.
Wait, what happens? I don't even know how to play Monopoly, to be honest. So
if you only ever buy houses in Monopoly and never upgrade to the hotel, there's not enough houses that go back into the pool for other people to buy.
Yep.
Okay, so it's just a flaw game.
Same with. Have you played Ticket to Ride?
No.
Okay, so Ticket to Ride is another game, so we went through, when we stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh, we went through this board game phase that kind of stemmed from Monopoly Deal, where we would find like the funnest tabletop board games, but we would eventually, like our Yu-Gi-Oh minds ended up cracking these games. Like, we're like, okay, like Monopoly, like if you look at Ticket to Ride, it's probably one of the top rated tabletop games of all time, and it's super fun to play with people that aren't assholes like we are.
Yeah.
And we cracked the game because we're like, okay, there's no hand limit size. So if we exhaust all the resources, no one could ever get more than what we have. Okay. So If you understand, if you ever look into it, you can never play it again. Like you'll play it once and it'll collect dust in your house.
Yeah, that's what we did to DC. Basically, we ruined the DC community.
Yo, you guys really did.
We ruined it. We are ranked number 1, 2, and 3 right now. Like in DC, it's bad. We ruined the shit out of that community.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like how our minds work, right? Like our minds work to, like Patrick said, it is like we're given a problem. Every format has a problem. It's our job to solve it, right? And we view everything like that.
Yes. Yeah, it's like crazy, right? Like everything. I want to break everything.
And that's similar to why me and you we don't finish RPGs because like we're OP already.
Yeah.
And we're like, the game was beat 25 hours ago.
That's true, actually. You're right. It's kind of like I'm already. If I fight the last boss, he's not going to be a challenge. Let's be real.
Exactly. So, and you know where this realization came up to is on. I don't know if you remember, but on Facebook, someone wrote, "My kink is being."
I appreciate it.
And yeah, you shared it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this makes perfect sense to why I don't finish games because the game was finished.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII. My last playthrough of Final Fantasy VII was in 2015. Kenny was there when I was playing it, and I got to the end of the game. So I'm at the part where you fight Ruby Weapon, Emerald Weapon, all that good stuff. And I get to the point where you can now farm like Power Source, Guard Source, Luck Source. And so I just spent hours farming that until all my stats were 255, and then I stopped playing the game.
Fraser was so strong, you put a hole in his wall.
Yes.
Exact same.
Says insider.
It's so back to Monopoly Deal. Monopoly Deal ruined our weekend because we got this game and literally we drove to Indy, and that's like maybe I think a 12-hour drive.
Mm-hmm.
Our breaks would be stopping to run a game of Monopoly. Like we would stop at rest stops because everyone in the car would be like, "Dude, no way you fucking won the last one."
Oh shit!
Like. Say that, and it ruined the whole weekend because we didn't test at all.
Yeah, you guys were so much more involved in that.
This, and you know what? What happened when we all went like X2 by round 6, 7? We're like, all right, yo, let's go run off the deal. It's just we didn't need to leave.
Yeah.
Toronto. We could have just stayed. And just did that.
You could have did that shit at home.
And it's because we didn't even care because Indy is always the last event of the year.
Yep.
Before the change of the format, and like the format's solved, and it's annoying.
Indy was bad. 2010 Indy was bad.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy won with fucking anti-meta. That's a sign. If anti-meta wins your event, it's probably not a good event. And I don't consider my Gravekeeper deck to be anti-meta. Like, it is anti-meta, but not in a sense of like play Banisher or Doomcow or Thunder King and set 5, like that type of deck.
I still stand by what I said when Fraser won, and it is not a knock to.
I remember this. I watched that video. This is when you were still with Audrey.
That was the greatest metagame call of all time, and you like.
It probably still is.
It still is. It 100% is.
Yeah, because I never seen a meta call give top 3 to any. Like all the prize cards came to like us. We took all the prize cards.
Yeah. I definitely wouldn't say like it's less of it being anti-meta and more of just like it was a deck that broke the meta. Like, it was a completely different call. Nobody else built it, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. Metagame call. The greatest metagame call in
Yu-Gi-Oh! Ruined every single deck at that tournament. There was not a deck in that room that like could honestly, if you kept playing, like let's say you played 10 games, right? Gravekeeper's gonna beat you 8.
Yes. Like, and that was one of the first times that like I couldn't play people for money at my local because they would load up Gravekeepers. I'm like, I could lose on turn 1.
Oh yeah, you could easily like the game. It was. I told people, and a lot of people thought this was like a hot take or I was tripping. But I said, you realize that Royal Tribute's better than Crush Card Virus, right? Like Royal Tribute is turn 1. I saw your hand before I did anything. I know exactly what you have before you take your turn, which means I can like set myself up to know like, okay, he has this before you do anything, and it takes all of your monsters. None of this 1500 and higher nonsense. It takes every single one, which is so broken. And the fact that
you can't get them back because Necro Valley's on the
I was about to
field.
say,
you can't even get them back.
Yeah, like if you resolve Royal Tribute, you technically, not even technically, you literally have Necro Valley on the field. So they actually can play a lot more of their cards. So it just completely ends the game. That deck is so broken, but it makes it where that format is basically not really playable unless you go anti-Gravekeeper.
Yeah. So
you have to go like anti-Gravekeeper.
You hate GOAT format, but Chaos Warrior is your Gravekeeper deck. Because when you go Dust Shoot and see their hand, and you have Rhoda to answer any possible play, like Blade Knight for flips, level 2 for, again, face downs, Exile for big beater, and your Necro Valley is triple Kaiku.
Oh my god, yeah.
Chaos Warrior is your Gravekeeper deck.
It plays triple Kaiku.
It does.
Triple Kaiku, triple Blade. It's insane. It's actually so. There's a 3v3 tournament this weekend to get invites, and my Overdose team has 4 players, so we can't make one team. So we teamed up with. Well, when's this video gonna drop?
This video is dropping tomorrow.
Oh, it won't matter. People will know. So we teamed up with Rampage. So La Bounty is my third. So it's me, Lazaro, La Bounty.
You, Lazaro, La Bounty. Gotcha.
And it's Chris, Anthony, and Mark, another top Go player. But Chaos Warrior is an insane deck, and we just don't want to play it because, like, for me, I'm about flash. There's no highlight reel plays in that deck.
Yeah, it's too straight. And yeah, you're right. It's definitely not flashy. It's definitely not flashy.
Like, I like to try and pimp people out in the middle of a game and do some stuff. Have a set fate that I don't flip for 4 turns.
Yeah, like, I understand that because so after Gravekeepers, right? A lot of people at my local and just in the area, Delaware, New York, Jersey, a lot of people expected me to continue to play Gravekeeper, but the truth is I actually never played Gravekeeper again after that. Like, I won with the deck and I never touched it again. And that was for 2 reasons. One, because I didn't want people to think that I was only good because of the deck, right? Because that stigma attaches itself to people. People are like, oh, this guy was good in Necros format, or this guy was good in BA format, but then he fell off.
Yeah.
I don't want to be known as just he was only good in this one format and then he faded away. So I had that chip on my shoulder from the gate. I was like, I already know how people think. I'm very like brand heavy in my head. Like, I feel like I am a brand. And Jim kind of put that in my mind. Jim was like, you're a household name. He used to always say that shit. And when he first said it, I was like, I'm no one, Jim. Like, I'm just a guy who won a YCS or whatever. He's like, you don't understand. Like, I'm going to make sure that you guys, all the ARG people, we're going to be like, you're going to be a household name. So I had a chip on my shoulder. I was like, I'm going to top with different decks every time. Gravekeepers doesn't have flash. So going back to the point, like, when you play it, yeah, it's nice to roll tribute somebody, but after you do it once, the trick is kind of like, that's the trick.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, all right, you saw it. Now you lost your hand. The game's over. After you do that, it's not fun. It's just kind of like, yeah, you fucking took my whole hand away without any effort. Like, good job.
Dude, speaking of Flash, I was saying this to Fraser. I was watching like a random Edison tournament video, just like a random one. I had it on. 2 people are playing, and then I hear the commentator goes, blah blah blah, Dale Bellido. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, Dale actually played in the last one.
So I'm watching one of Dale's games in the Edison format, right? And they're setting up a stuff, and then you have a back row set, and the commentator goes, is he going to pro heavy him? And then you fucking pro heavy the guy, and I was like, he's still doing this shit 20 years later. What the fuck?
Yeah, I watched the feature match. I think it was round 1. There was this one really questionable play I was going to ask you about, and I'm glad you brought this up. I forgot about it. It's the Thunder King one.
It's the Thunder King, right?
Yeah, Thunder King one. Yeah.
And leave the Thunder King. I'm trying to remember.
You turned on his Hero Blast. I remember that.
Yeah. So he attacks he hits Snowman Eater, and I choose to kill the Alias over the Thunder King because I'm afraid of Gemini Spark. Because Gemini Spark is the one card that he can do to get over it that he plays multiples of. But I didn't think he played Hero Blast.
Yeah, because I was about to say Hero Blast is actually the same exact out, right? Like, it's the same exact thing. So it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. You have to pick which one they're going to have at that point. Because
my mistake was not tributing for Caius the next turn.
Okay, so you just passed or something?
That was a real mistake. Like, game 2, I think we go to 3 games. I lose game 2 and game 3.
Yeah, you won game 1, I'm pretty sure.
Because I had ending both games, triple Caius was in my hand.
So
and it was definitely a side deck error.
Let me say this too. When I watched, and this is no offense or shot at the guy who you played against or girl, whoever it was, they drew so perfectly against you that it was actually a little frustrating to watch. If I'm not mistaken, you were playing against Hero Beat, and the person drew like skill drain at the perfect time. They had, I mean, like, and they drew Barbaros at one point, I believe. Like, it was actually, It was actually so frustrating because I think you dropped Gores or something and there was no out to Gores. And then they fucking drew Barbaros off the top. And I was like, holy shit, that's so like, even the commentators, I believe they were like, that's actually so unfortunate for Dale because, you know, that's exactly what you needed to get. Like, you could not get out the situation any other way. And they kept drawing like these really broken cards at the perfect time. I was like, wow, he just drew that skill drain and just set it. That just got set. Or like that Barbaros came, and I at the time when I was watching it, this is the first day of Frazier getting in the Edison format. This was the day one. I was somebody in the Discord said, "Hey Frazier, do you mind if I post a link to this tournament?" And I said, "Yeah, go ahead, man. Like post it in IMNerd. I don't fucking care. I'm not one of those people that's like, don't promote anything in this group. Go ahead, promote your shit." So he's like, "Can I post it?" So he posted it, and I was in my living room. I was working out. I said, let me just see what people are doing with this Edison form. So I clicked it, and you were the fucking person who's like, oh, we have round one feature match, Dale Bellido. So then I started watching it. And this is how it happens. Like, I literally started watching you play, and I was liking what I saw. And then I saw the guy, like, skill drain Barbaros, like, win a game or whatever. And then I saw that Snowman Eater play. And I was like, damn, this format is so slow and technical looking that it actually looks like you can outplay your opponent. Like, it looks like, granted, yeah, you can get really lucky or whatever, but that's every Yu-Gi-Oh format ever, right? So I was like, this looks like the one game you just OTK'd. You just straight up OTK'd him. It might have been game 2, but you just killed him out of nowhere. It was like really quick. And it was one of those things that I could tell, like, you have a killer instinct. And I tell people about that all the time. Like, when you're a Yu-Gi-Oh player, I'm teaching Kenny's little cousin how to play now. He's like 23 years old or something, so he's not like a kid. But he's never played Yu-Gi-Oh before until the pandemic. And I'm teaching him how you have to have a killer instinct. You have to know when you can go for game and know when it, like, even if you lose because of it, it was still the correct thing to do. And so that's hard to try to teach because you also want them to like reserve their resources and not just play all their cards when they can. So I'm trying to teach them the thin line between like go for it here and don't go for it there. Like make a read or make it where even if you don't kill them, you put them in such a shitty position that they're probably going to draw and scoop anyway.
This is actually the perfect segue to one of the topics I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Was why some of the most consistent players, like legends in Yu-Gi-Oh history, don't win. And it's like one that I could speak to is Matt Petal, like one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of falls in line with Joe, and it kind of falls in line with Chris Perovic.
Yeah.
And these are 3 guys that should definitely have rings.
Yeah, they're so good.
The reason why is like I think the 3 things these guys have in common are there's these super high analytical players.
They really are. Probably the most analytical ever, in my opinion.
They really are. Like Matt reminds me of Chris and reminds me of Joe from what I've seen of Joe. And part of it is they play too close to the chest.
They do. They love getting every single +1. They want to squeeze out every extra bit of a card that they can get.
Yeah. And it's to their own detriment, where Matt was the first to admit this, that the way he played GOAT format was, well, I'm just going to get us to a point where I have 2 cards, you have none. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And he tried to do that going into future formats. The problem is he didn't realize the format shift, the style shift, till it was too late. Till it was like 4 or 5 Shonen jumps in.
Yeah,
or when
it became win the game.
Yeah. And Anthony Alvarado has like this crazy play in the finals of a Shonen Jump in GOAT format where he goes summon breaker, set nobleman. Like that's his turn 1. That's a play that like no one else will make.
Yeah.
Like they won't make that type of play, right? And,
yeah.
And yeah, it causes them to do consistently well for a very long time, but it doesn't let them get over the hump.
Yeah.
And the hump is like the very end. It's just the win, right? Like Matt has been in the finals, been playing for the championship like I think twice. And I think Joe's
yeah, they've been to the mountaintop. Alistair's another one. Yeah. He's been to the finals against Billy Break. They've been to the mountaintop. And like, you know, this is not to shit on these people at all. Like these are some of the best players ever to play Yu-Gi-Oh! But we always wonder how come these people can top like constantly, but they can't close. Like what is it about closing that is just, it never happens. Like there's a couple other people like Carl Manigat. I think he's been to the finals a couple of times now. And like something always happens to him where it's like, damn, every time I want to root for you and think that you're going to get there. Tommy Rowe, probably the most recent one. He just, I think he misplayed in the finals of the remote YCS recently. And that, and he was really, hurt about that because it's like, yeah, I fucked up. And that's the reason why I didn't get my win. And he's gotten second at nationals. He's gotten second at another YCS. He's gotten second at something. He's just like, a bunch of second places. He's like kind of like the new age McCabe. McCabe has that somewhat of the same problem. Like you get second so often, it starts to become a thing or you have to ask yourself, like, what is it about second place what am I doing? Or are they always just getting lucky? Because that's the lazy excuse, right? Like, did your opponent just get lucky every single time? Or could you have done anything to affect it?
So the reason why, I think you're right there. Like the opponent does get lucky to beat you, but the way you're playing is giving them time to get lucky.
Exactly.
Where we don't, like, I'm very aggressive. Every format I play is aggressive.
You
because
are.
I clock you, I put you on a clock really quick, right? And mid-game could come way sooner than you think. Mid-game and end-game come, you're not expecting it.
They're fucking holding pot of avarice in their hand, thinking they want to get time to resolve it. And you're like, you're already at 1200, so you don't have much opportunity.
Yeah. You're clocked, right? And you can only do so many things. And like Lazaro is the mix of Matt and myself, where Lazaro just knows like his timing was very well. He ends up winning like fucking 4 events, but we as pros we all don't tilt, but some don't tilt better than others.
Yeah,
and like tilting and going to game, like they definitely tilt a bit to not win, because like you lose one game, you have to lose a 2 out of 3.
Yeah, and
something like there's just something there that you're playing too close. You're playing not to lose, and it eventually.
Yeah, playing not to lose is definitely the way to word it.
Yeah,
and it's fun. Like these people are really good, and I bet that they would even admit that there had to be something they could have done differently in some of these. And because, like we said, most of them have gotten second more than once. Like McCabe has gotten second more than once. In fact, McCabe could have won a YCS against Patrick Hoban. So he plays against Patrick Hoban in 2014 in the finals, and they're playing that draft format. But this one sucks. This is probably not the only thing that could have been different, because this format is so unique. But this is one of the things that would have changed the outcome of the game, and it would have gave McCabe a game. We don't know if he would have won the whole YCS, but probably, because he's really is like godly. So he's playing against Patrick Hoban, and Patrick Hoban goes, set Dragon Dwelling in the Cave, set Burst Breath. And McCabe has a field of monsters. And McCabe goes to beat over it, and Pat flips up Burst Breath and tributes Dragon Dwelling in a Cave face down to kill McCabe's whole field like a Raigeki. And come to find out, if you tribute a face down monster for Burst Breath, it's considered 0 defense. So it actually doesn't do a single thing. And McCabe lost that game because of, like, specifically because of that one thing. He lost the game. That was Patrick's misplay, right? Like Patrick misplayed. And it's interesting because all Patrick had to do was go summon Dragon Dwelling in a Cave. It would have been the same thing, except he would have just actually killed all of McCabe's monsters and won the game. But Pat misplayed first, and then McCabe, like, because of his lack of knowledge, I guess, which is also a part of winning. Like, that is a part of the whole package, like knowing how things interact. And it sucks because it's like, that format's kind of fake. It's a draft format. It's only happened in like a year of Yu-Gi-Oh's history, but it was what was required to win the game. And he got to the mountaintop. Like, he clearly was doing something right. The 4 matches he got to top 32, 16, 8, 4. And then you get to the finals, you're playing against the best player in the world. And then the best player in the world misplays. Like, he blatantly does something that is incorrect. Whether he realized it or not, he did something that was incorrect. And then because you didn't know, because we didn't really study, I'm gonna be honest, I remember going to these events with McCabe, we didn't really study draft format. We just kind of were like, if we get the draft, people suck. That's literally what we would say.
Yep.
And it was good enough for the finals, but it wasn't good enough to beat the best player in the world who actually specifically practiced with the Leverates, that fucking battle pack format. Like, he played that format a lot.
Yeah, that's crazy. And it's funny why you think that interaction works, right? Because if you go set monster deck devastation.
Yep, it works. Or crush card, it works.
Fusiler, it works, right? Or it works in certain formats. So I could understand that.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and like I don't really hold it against McCabe in like a way like, oh, you should have known that, but we should have known that, because at the time, this is 2014, me and him are at the time 2 of the best players in the world.
For sure.
Like, we are 2 of the best. Like, you do not want to run into us in 2014. Like, people sat down and were like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
So like, you should know these, because you're probably going to top. Like, realistically, like, he topped a lot, like all the time. He went the worlds that year. That's the same year. Became with the Worlds in 2014. Like he got top 6 at nationals with the hat deck. I think it was hat.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it was hat. Yeah, because it was like Sahabi and then a bunch of fucking hat players.
There's too many at decks. There's hat, cat, fat. Like,
yep.
There's too many fucking at decks.
Yeah, but stuff like that. Yeah. And Billy Break won against Alistair with 3 Reborn Tengus in his hand.
That one's wild. Is that game 3?
I forget. It might be game 3, but just know it's that playing too close to the chest thing again.
Yes. It's not pressing. Yeah.
It's not pressing because you would have found out this motherfucker had 3 Tengus if you'd have pressed him, because he would have had to set one of them bitches, and when you would have killed it, he wouldn't have been able to search.
Yeah. I don't know Alistair that like I know Alistair.
Yeah.
I just don't know him as a player, right? Because I think when you guys were up there, we were already out.
Yeah, you guys were on the way out. Like you guys, we only ran into each other basically at Toronto. I feel like when we would come up to Toronto.
We ran into each other because we have a picture together in Chicago when Aaron wins.
Yes.
So yeah, and Joe loses to Aaron at that time, and that's like our last hurrah as a team. Like we're on our way out.
Yeah, that's 2012 Chicago.
Dino Rabbit format.
2012 Chicago. Yeah, Chaos Dragons.
Lazaro has already stopped playing.
Yeah.
At the time, and like his last biggest commitment was like in 2011. He was just traveling because I'm like, hey, just come. He wasn't. His heart wasn't in it anymore. But that's when we were like passing everything to the remaining players on the team, right?
Yeah.
Like I drove everyone, and it was a good time. But yeah, I mean,
Canada always had a strong representation because now it's like Jesse Cotton is one of the best players in the world, and like, you know, before that, like he was a kid when you were playing, like you said, that he was an actual child, and now like you go back, like it's like you, Lazaro are like really, really, really insane, and then Jesse, like he's won 2 YCS now. He's definitely one of the best. I think because of the pandemic, it just kind of like slowed everything down for him because he used to do like the world's grind. Going to regionals. He stayed on my couch a couple times to just go to Philly regionals. Like he was like, "Can I just stay tonight?" Like he took a Greyhound.
The toll and the stress that puts on your body, I couldn't imagine doing that.
It's too much.
But
it's definitely too much.
No.
It's not healthy. You sleep in the worst conditions. You eat the worst food, and you're not getting enough water. Your body doesn't get enough. Like you're sleeping couch to couch. You probably don't get enough rest or good rest. It's really bad. And then at the end of it all, you might not even make it to Worlds doing all of that. Like you might actually not get there.
The other Canadian that he was against, Matt Van Hoovel, did the same grind and did not get it. Like I would just end it. I'm like, you know what?
Absolutely.
Here are all my Yu-Gi-Oh stuff.
Yeah, because it's also expensive too. Just going place to place like that, it's very expensive to do. And you know, if let's say money's no object, which I think that's a problem in itself because that whole World's Points grind supports people who can just spam money. Like you just have money, you can just beat out everyone who cannot afford to. Every weekend, I'm in a different city, different state, Saturday, Sunday. Saturday, I'm in Philly. Then Jesse was like, all right, Fraser, I have to go. I'm going to Ohio. So now he's on a fucking train or bus or whatever to Ohio, 7 hours away from Philly the very next day. And I'm like, God damn, this is insane.
I think the worst part about it is like our stories of travel. We have good memories from there.
Oh,
I don't think
the best part of my life
memories from regional grinds.
No.
And I think he's like, yeah, I was on Fraser's couch. We were talking one day, and I woke up and I was on a train to Ohio, and you don't talk about that. That's not a thing.
Yeah, no.
Unless something fun happened. You know what I mean? Like sometimes when you're like, if he went to Fraser's house and then I don't know, they went to karaoke or something. Like if they, you know what I mean? If they did something that night, but if he just slept on the couch, went to a tournament, and then went to Ohio, then.
But he couldn't let something happen because he would have to wake up super early and then peace out.
Yeah, that's
Hour to him.
Yeah, I mean he grinded a lot. I know he did make it the Worlds the 1 year, but I think he made it by just like top 4 or 6. I don't know, I forget. But yeah, that whole Worlds Points grind thing needs to be completely rewritten. It's really toxic, and it created some very toxic things in the community when it was happening. you know, people just stall. Like at the time, Sky Striker was really big, and that deck goes into time often, and people stalling to get worlds points and stuff. There was a lot of.
I just don't think regionals should count. Just make it just the YCSs.
I agree. I 100% agree. I think we mentioned this before that at the end of the day, right? How are you going to tell me that somebody like Jesse Cotton can win 2 YCSs within like a 1.5 year period, 1 year period, whatever it was? How are you going to tell me that this guy has won 2 YCS and he's not considered one of the people that the United States or like the North America should be sending to Worlds? How are you going to tell me?
Because it didn't go to 30 regionals in different states.
Like that is so wild. Everyone should be able to compete at YCSs, in my opinion. I don't care about money, none of that. You like for YCSs, because they were pretty much once a month. There's not much of an excuse why you couldn't compete in the bigger tournament, the more prestigious tournament, and that should be your qualifier for Worlds. The people who do the best over the course of every YCS for a season should be the people who go to Worlds. Point blank.
Yeah, 12 qualifiers.
Has Billy been to Worlds?
No.
Jeff?
No.
All right. For anybody...
the competition's done there.
It really is. Anybody, these are 2 of the best players to ever have played Yu-Gi-Oh! Ever. And they've never been. For everybody
listening, I want you to know that Dale's face after Fraser answered his question said it all. Like when he said, "Has Billy been to Worlds?" and Fraser said no, Dale's face was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like that's it. The conversation's over.
Yeah, I mean, nothing needs to be said after that. But yeah, again, Worlds is just one of those things.
Yeah, it's one of those. And that was the only thing that I did not accomplish in Yu-Gi-Oh! That I wanted to accomplish. And I realized that it had gotten worse to get there. Like, I think my biggest chance was honestly going to just be topping nationals and getting there match after match. Once they made it that grind shit, I was already slowly on my way out when that grind thing happened. And I was like, I am good on that. Like, I am so good on that. Once I saw what people were doing, how hard they were going. It's kind of the same thing when you think about, so Duel Links, right? I thought about briefly when Duel Links first came out, being some kind of content creator or streamer or something of Duel Links, trying to get the worlds through that type of thing. Like me and McCabe talked about it briefly. It's like, oh yeah, we could do that. And then we realized what it took, because people who don't have jobs, they don't go to school, they can afford to play Duel Links all day. And there's these things, these qualifiers where you do have to do that. You have to get points and you have to have like a certain record and stuff. So you have to play an absurd amount of Duel Links. And I just said, I don't want to give my life away to this game like that. Like, I just don't want to do that. I already gave so much of my life away to Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's so funny you say that, because I was going to come back for Master Duel.
Yeah.
And then I told my close group of friends, I'm like, you know what? I'm ready to come back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I could finally play like on a decent client.
Yeah.
I literally could not get past the first like tutorial. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait so I don't have to play on my Switch, so I can play on my phone.
Yeah.
I'm on my phone, and I'm like, oh, I'm still stuck at this. I didn't even do the Monarch one. It's whatever is before the Monarch one. I just have no patience.
The desire, right? It has to be there. At the end of the day, we're older now, and our desires have just shifted. And I try to. Sometimes I obviously it crosses my mind, like, what if I did come back to real Yu-Gi-Oh, like modern Yu-Gi-Oh? What if I went back into modern Yu-Gi-Oh super hard, try to get that second win, like Silverman did. You know, Silverman got his first win the same year I got my first win, and then he got another win in 2019, I think. And like I was thinking, like, man, maybe I could pull that stunt too. Like I know I'm good enough. I know if I discipline myself. But then I think about what goes into that. I didn't forget that part. Like I remember what it took to be a good Yu-Gi-Oh player. It took a lot. And I don't really have that to give again. Like, that's why I play Edison, because as much as I love Edison format, like right now, I don't have to worry about traveling for it or anything. I just go to my locals, which I already go to anyway. I was going to my locals before Edison. I was just going to hang out every single week. After the local, we go out to eat. And it reminded me of YCSs where we all get together. And there's literally like 20 of us that go out to eat for dinner. It's so fun. Every Thursday we do this. We go out somewhere, and it's not even a fancy restaurant. We go to like Applebee's and Longhorn and Buffalo Wild Wings. But just being in a room with like 15 to 20 of my friends is so fucking fun, and I miss that. And I think about like the being super competitive and how you have to travel, book a flight, book a hotel, figure out who you're staying with, then have your deck, make sure your deck is right, play test it a lot, know what you're signing for every matchup, know what you're signing going first, know what you're signing going second, like all of that stuff, knowing your combos, knowing when to do this and that, and just it's a lot. It's a lot.
It is.
Luckily for Edison, at least unless Konami really picks it up themselves, all the big tournaments are going to be dueling book tournaments.
Yep, and I can do those. I can 100% do that because I play DC tournaments in my room, like I am right now. I play DC tournaments here, so I have no excuse why I can't do the same thing for something I love more.
Dale revealed to us that he does his tournaments at work. He's like, I'm at work.
I hired an assistant. So you can do some stuff for me so I can play at work. No one from my company will listen to this.
Yeah, of course not.
I promoted an assistant.
Yep, just so that they could.
When I wanted to do shit, he could do this for me and like keep the peace till I was really, really needed. And unfortunately, I just work every Saturday, and I can't avoid that. But I can make someone do my shit for me and pay him a bit. But it's the desire is gone. But I don't know if you've seen, like, I had a smile on this whole conversation.
Oh yeah, this is amazing.
It's just thinking about it, talking about it is the best part of it. And like the game is no longer the best part of it. It's just an association.
Yeah,
it really isn't.
That's part of why I think the Time Wizard is Time Wizard format just considered what they call GOAT format, or is it a retro thing as a whole?
I think Time Wizard format is retro in general. Like I think it's any retro format. When I saw the email that Konami sent out to the OTSs, like the official tournament stores, I believe that it said, you can just play any old format. It didn't specify GOATs.
Okay.
I don't even know if Konami recognizes GOAT format as like GOAT format. You know what I mean? Like I don't
think they do either.
Yeah.
And I know my like desire isn't there because I don't care that much when I lose.
Yes, me neither. That's true. Like when I lose, depending on how I lost, because that's always the biggest part for me. It just depends on how I lost. Like I have lost to that oppression. That was the weak one, and that to me, I felt fine with that. I was so content with that. That was my first week. I didn't have my own deck. So when he flipped oppression, and I thought about it, I said, well, I definitely sided out MST and Heavy Storm. 100% I sided those out. And I was like, so I don't have outs to this. And unless I draw Raikou, and I don't have Raikou in my hand right now, I was like, I'm just going to scoop. You have Vayu and Sirocco and Grave. I scooped. And I said, good game. Like, I completely did not feel any animosity. But then I think week 2, still no animosity when I lost, but like week 2, I lost to my friend Vinny because, okay, this is wild, but he rescue catted me. He plays Doomcow Cat every week. He refuses to play off. That deck is not that good, but he plays it every week. No. And he rescue catted me 3 times in one game. I don't even know how the game was going past the second rescue cat, but literally he goes rescue cat like on his first turn. He does a whole bunch of shit. I get destroyed by it, and then he pot of averaces it, and then I give it to him again immediately. And we make jokes about how, like, there's no way people could ever say I fucking stack, because I would not constantly give you rescue cat if I could help it. Like he drew it so many times into one game, and then game 2 I won. This game I played Future Fusion. This is what I wrote on Facebook. How does Cold Wave work? Because he wanted to Cold Wave me before my second standby phase, and so we had to look at
to see or not, right?
Yeah, but then after we realized that like my monster still comes out, he was like, okay, I'll lose, and that was game 2, and then game 3 I got rescue catted twice. So I got rescue catted 5 times to lose, and we laugh about it to this day. But then I played him week 3, so that was week 2. I played him week 3, and he rescue catted me again twice in a game to win. And then game 2, I didn't even get to win a game this time. I just got 2-0, and I got rescue catted twice again. Yeah. So I was like, well, holy shit, dude! Like you fucking draw a cat. Like it's a meme now. Like, and then this past weekend I finally beat him with Sky Scourge Neuralis deck. Like he did cat me. Mind you, he's top decking. He has no fucking cards. He has no cards. And he top decks Avarice after Neuralis. He top decks Avarice, and he goes Avarice, and he says, give me Monk and a spell. And he goes, draw, play Avarice. I say, hold on. You actually can't play that. I cold waved you before I Sky Scourge Neuralis you. He's like, oh fuck. But I'm like, you really do Avarice though. That's crazy. And I can't kill you. So then I passed to him, and Cold Wave's off. He draws, no saying it's 2 cards in hand. One of them's Avarice. He goes Avarice, and he draws Monk and a spell. And I still won.
Okay, there. At least you got that.
I said, Vinny, you are insane. He's like, he like laughs at. He just laughs because he thinks it's so funny that he keeps catting me. But I'm like, bro, you make that deck look like it's tier 0 because if you cat someone every turn, like, yo, that deck is way better than it actually is when you cat constantly.
Yeah, and it's just fun.
It is.
Right? Like,
it's so fun.
And the biggest difference with the nostalgia factor with Yu-Gi-Oh versus like what other companies did, like nostalgia is known as the good times, right? The good memories. You only remember the good memories.
Yep.
And like Sony and Nintendo knew this, that when they released the mini retro consoles, that was obviously not permanent. It wasn't gonna last. It was fleeting because it was people loved the good times. But when they plugged in and I have to play with a cord attached to the TV and these graphics are shit and this game is slow, like this was probably better off left as a good memory. Because now when I play GoldenEye, I don't remember my basement with my cousins. I remember me trying to play alone and thinking it was the greatest shooter of all time.
And it did not age well. So
but Yu-Gi-Oh does age well because we don't care for better graphics. We don't care for faster speed. We want to slow down.
Yeah, we actually want to slow down.
That. And the people that want to slow down have this disposable income. Like
we do now. Yeah, that didn't exist before.
Okay.
Yeah.
On stuff that you'll probably never all touch, right?
Now, real quick, to be fair, that's just because Fraser is a Looney Tune. In general, the format's really cheap. I was able to build my deck for $50. Right?
Yes. The good thing is though,
we got everything together, right? Like you were talking about Drill Warrior being a $20 card at the time, being expensive to us. Like $20 is lunch.
Yeah,
like,
literally, I ordered Chick-fil-A today for lunch. Now $20.
Yeah, and it's not a thing. And I did the same thing when I got back into GOAT format. I have, like, if anyone ever wants to play, like my friends, I do go to a GOAT format local once a month.
Yeah. I bet you love that day every month. I bet that day is so fucking nice to you.
This weekend, and I'm stoked. Like,
I bet that gives you so much, like, such a good feeling when you know that day is coming.
Yeah, and when I lose, I do not even care that much. It's just one of those things. I lost. Like, I'm gonna lose. I've lost many times in my life. Whatever. It's what it is.
I've grown to accept it. I was a sore loser when I first, but when I was younger, but I grew. I used to be a real sore loser, but I've grown out of it now. Like now, I can laugh it off a lot more than I used to be able to. You know what I mean?
Dude, I remember one of the WCQs where I was against Burn, and I set up 2 turns in a row. I went Black Rose on his end phase. So I went Hyper Librarian and Formula Synchron.
Yeah.
Twice. I did it twice that game because I averaged it back.
Yeah.
He still burned me. Like I got rid of 4 cards and then 5 cards without him being able to chain, and he still beats me. Like how does that happen? He didn't get to draw any of the cards, but he still beats me with like an accumulated fortune chain strike way back into everything.
Yeah.
I was so hot.
Well, that would put me on tilt though. Those ones do hurt more when they. I think when people do the 0 out thing, or I should say they're 1 out type of situations, those ones get to me. Not now. Like I said, Vinny, I neuralized him. He has no cards. I'm +1 on him. Like I have a card and you don't, and I have 2 Red Eyes Wyverns and 2 Red Eyes Darkness Metals in my grave. So next turn, if you don't deal with this Phantom of Chaos, you're actually dead. And he draws the 1 card. I was like, I cannot believe that you're just like drawing this well. It's just absurd. But I don't get like angry about it. Like I said, we laugh now. It's like, Vinny, you are ridiculous. I said like, Vinny, you are so fucking lucky. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's.
But back then, that would put me on tilt. I'll be pissed. I would not be happy with Vinny.
I leave the convention and no one can talk to me.
Yeah.
At that. And now if this happened today and I'm like, oh yeah, it happened. Whatever.
Yeah, I laugh now. Honestly, some of the losses that I have are so funny to me. They're just hilarious. Like I get dust shoot at game 3, and like I'm like, yeah, I'm like, all right, you got it. Like, yeah, you got the dust shoot. It's like, must be nice.
So one of my worst memories of all time is in Edison in round 1. It's funny, we dial all the way back, an hour and 40 minutes after. is my worst memory is I'm in time, right? And it might have been a side error, but Solemn Judgment was still in my main deck.
Mhm.
And the guy goes Heavy Storm. And then I flip them up one at a time, right? I flip up Solemn and then I flip up the other. We're in time already. Flip up Solemn and then I flip up Pulling the Rug and I put it in the grave. He calls the judge. And the judge is Jerome. And Jerome forces me to activate the Solemn in time on a heavy when I already revealed the other card.
Interesting.
It was like not even like a half second after.
That's so weird. That's just a weird thing. Like I don't even know what to say about that.
It's all over the forums.
Yeah, that's such a weird thing.
And he forced me to Solemn a heavy in time, and the guy just didn't do anything. Yeah, I couldn't get over it.
Yeah, like that. Just like that does not make sense. You know what I mean? Like that does not make sense. It's simply put, it just does not make sense.
Yeah, I didn't go. I activate Solemn. I actually revealed both cards, but that's how I lose round 1 in Edison in time. Getting forced to activate Solemn.
Yeah, no, that just ruined my weekend. Yeah, that sucks. That's tilting. I've had some bad beats. I've definitely had some one-outers drawn on me. There was one really bad one. I can't remember exactly what it was, but in 2011 in Orlando YCS, McCabe ends up getting second in this one as well. I play against Jonathan Barber on the bubble. I am day 1. I'm pretty sure I'm 8-1. So this is Plants and X-Sabers format. I'm 8-1. And day 2, I just have to win one. I just have to win one round. If I win any round, day 2, I guarantee top. I think McCabe, I feel like he's X2 going into day 2, and he wins both and tops. I lose both, and the way I lost against Jonathan Barber on the bubble was so ignorant. It was like, he's playing Six Samurai, and I'm playing Plants, and that Six Samurai just was not good. At this point, Gateway, this is later 2011, so like, in the beginning of the year 2011, Gateway was at 3, Six Sams were broken, and obviously they get hit. So the deck is neuter, is not very good. It can rush you down, but against Plants, it's kind of hard because they have Hamster, Raiko, Reborn Tengu, and all that stuff. But I remember he just God-handed me twice, and it felt so bad. Like, the one Gateway, double United, and just creamed me. And the other game, so that was like game 1. I was like, wow, you drew ridiculous. Then game 2, I'm winning. I have a Colossal Fighter. He's top decking. My life points are kind of low. He draws for turn. He has no cards. He draws for turn. He goes Puppet Plant for game. Puppet Plant, take Colossal Fighter, attack for game. I could not believe it. He has 0 cards. I have 4 cards. He has 0. Because I grinded him out. Yeah, I took some damage along the way. But like I have a Colossal Fighter, and he can't deal. Like he's literally top decking. He's at the point where he's top decking, go set a monster pass to not die. And I'm like, attack your monster pass. Because like they don't set anything real. I'm like, attack face down. It's like a Six Samurai go. So attack face down, Six Samurai, and I'm just generating card advantage. And he goes, draw. He's like, what are you at? I'm like, I'm at 28. He's like, oh, wow. Discard Puppet Plant, take your monster attack for game. I was like, holy shit. Like, that is so tilting. Like, that was so tilting. So, I remember that one, I was, like, genuinely angry.
Oh, boy.
Because it was just, I mean, your opponent's top decking, you have so many cards. Like, if I had a monster to set, I would have said it. I think I ended up drawing, like, Dust Shoot Dead or something like that. Because, like, that card was good. Mind Crush. I probably had mine because against Six Samurais, like all these cards are like pretty good against that deck. And I drew a bunch of those type of cards, and he's like, draw for turn, like check life points and Puppet Plant. And I kept saying to myself, why the fuck did you side in Puppet Plant against Plants? And he literally said, I don't know. And that drove me crazy. Like, that response was the worst thing he could have said. Like, when he said that, I said, do you realize there's only one warrior in my entire deck, and it's this Colossal Fighter? Out of my entire 55 cards, 40 plus 15 side deck cards, there's one warrior in my entire fucking deck. There's one. I was livid. Like, I'll never forget that. I was on tilt, tight.
Oh, man.
I'm actually shocked because, like, did he just think like, all right, Puppet Plant, I could steal plants? And then he read the card in the...
Maybe.
I'm shocked.
Honestly, I don't... I asked him, because I was sitting there kind of fuming, and I'm just deciding. And we did, our little handshake or whatever, and I'm like not looking at him because I'm just so annoyed. And I can't believe that I didn't top this event. I cannot.
The limp handshake, right? Was it the limp handshake?
It was definitely not a real handshake.
Like I think.
Because I kept thinking, like, why the fuck did I just get Puppet Planet for a game? And I couldn't help it. I said, he was still sitting there. I said, why'd you stop Puppet Planet against plants? And he goes, I don't know. And I just, I was just.
Okay. I need to ask one thing. Do you have a story of it being the opposite and you one outing somebody? We need to kind of bring this back.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've one outed many people.
It's hard to remember them because like against it's only I have one where I pulled this massive one outer because it's my opponent. My opponent is someone that is equally as heralded as I am.
Yeah.
And it's Dexter.
Dexter died.
Yeah. I pretty much like he goes. We're playing Glad Beast Mirror match, and I finally get the Heraclinos off the board, and then he draws, and I rip Reborn for game.
Ooh.
I had another dead card in hand, and I rip a Reborn, and that Heraclinos stops whatever he brings out, and I was like, wow, okay. I'm sure I've had other ones, but I only remember that because like it's the same type of level of player, right? You don't remember the ones when you crush like the casuals. Right?
I know I have some because I've beaten. So I like obviously with the people in my area, we've beaten each other quite many times. But I know I've sacked Silverman and McCabe many times.
Were any of them at a Shonen Jump? Like mine was in top 16, so mine was big.
No, against McCabe though, our the way our finals match ended was
oh my god, that one was a tragedy.
It's just like I set Solemn, and I think he did the same thing. I went flip Spy, and he went Solemn, and I went Solemn, you're Solemn. That's game.
It's a wrap.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. Like Solemn was at 1, I drew it, you drew it, but I got to go. Like I won the die roll, and he said because like our decklist didn't play Dark Rob or anything. So when he Solemned me, he assumed that it was just going to go through, and basically he would be the winner of the YCS at that point. Like his Spy would resolve, and that's just game in a mirror match, basically.
Yeah.
But when I Solemned his Solemn, he put his hand out. And I think that so it's weird, that feature match, game 3, I think that they actually wrote a feature match that did not happen because of how it ended. It was really just one turn, really.
Yeah.
It was really just set, go, and he went set, go, something like that. And then I went draw, flip, and I was like, activate Spy, and he went, I'm a Solemn, and I said, I'm a Solemn back. And then he literally gave me a handshake. And he like couldn't even like he didn't even look. He just like put his hand out, and that was the end of the game. That was the end of the match, like just like that. I think about that because that's pretty like lucky. Our deck didn't have any other outs to Solemn, so that just would have went through. And there's nothing you could do to Spy in that deck. Like that deck was so annoying because Spy was so strong.
Yeah,
there's nothing you could do. Like you don't have a monster field, you can't descend in it. Like it takes 2 monsters to set that up. So there's nothing you could do. Like Spy's just going to resolve, and you're going to lose. It just creates too much advantage.
Yeah, insane.
Yeah, that was one of them. But I'm sure there are others where I like sack the fuck out of somebody. Some of the most ignorant sacks I think are where it requires 2 cards, so you draw Avarice first, and then you and then like you draw like Lightning Vortex or something, and it's just like, yep, Lightning Vortex, you banish Malicious, summon attack for game or something like that. It's like, yeah, that's must be nice. But I can't remember off the top of my head right now. I'm sure there are some. Yeah.
I remember that one of my craziest is just like Avarice into another Avarice into
the most. Oh no.
That was a local.
Oh no, that's still so nasty though. How do you sleep at night? That's what I would say. I say that to Vinny now every week. I say, Vinny, how do you sleep at night drawing cat like that? He just turns red and laughs. He just turns red and he gives a big ass belly laugh. And we just start laughing. I'm like, you are not a real person. Like, you make this deck look broken. And he said, I'm pretty sure I can never take cat out of my deck. So I was like, I agree. I don't think you should ever not play it because it comes to your hand every time.
Yeah, if it means I open this card, yeah, I'm playing it.
Bro,
so.
The third week, so this is my second time playing. I didn't play in week 1, but I played him every week since. So it's week 2, 3, and 4 of Edison format at my locals. The third week, game 2, we're grinding back and forth, and he draws to 4 in hand, and I go trap that shit. And I'm thinking, like a normal person, I'm about to see this motherfucker's hand. And he doesn't show me his hand. And he's just like sitting there. I'm like, Vinny? And he's like, I'm thinking. I said, oh my, he has one back row.
One Solemn or what?
I was like, oh my God, Vinny. And then he starts laughing. He goes, Solomon and summon Rescue Cat. I said, you're fucking insane. You're fucking insane. I could
Dude,
not
that's
believe it.
Craziest part is even if you had an answer for a Rescue Cat with not a dust shoot, he had a Solemn to stop whatever
Yes.
you were doing. Like,
Yes.
it's connected.
I was so annoyed because I was like, did you just draw a cat? Like, did that just happen? Like, come on, Vinny. It was so annoying.
That's
What
insane.
about, you were telling me about the Doom Cal Gores play.
How'd that one go?
Wasn't that against Vinny?
It was. He did Arabella.
Not Gores. Was it
Arabella.
Honest?
I thought it was
The Honest play.
What is it?
He attacked with, I think he attacked your monster, you Honest, and then like Doom Cal stopped Honest, and then your attack went through for 0 damage.
Oh, no, that was a different game. But me and Vinny did have an interesting one. So the way I won with the Neuralis deck, I finally went undefeated at my local too. This past weekend with Neuralis. I switch decks every week, but I played Neuralis this time, and I finally went undefeated without losing a single round. And I played Vinny in the last round, and game 1 he cats me twice and dust shoots me, and I won. And the reason why I won is because he got to a point where he did X-Saber Arabellum attack directly, and my only card in hand was Gores. And so there was a rolling dispute, not a dispute. We both were like, how does this work? I put Gores on the field immediately because I already knew, because I remember that interaction. So I was like, when you attack, I'll take 16, I'll drop Gores. And he was like, oh, does it discard it first? I was like, absolutely not. And then we looked it up and Gores does come out. But then he like lost the game from that. After catting me twice and dust shooting me, he finally lost to me. I was like, fucking finally.
You know what? It's done. He's not getting any more after that. He's had them all before. 3.
Yeah, I'm about to start coming hard to the locals. Then granted, so I'm going to Miami tomorrow. So heads up for people listening to this episode of the podcast. There will not be a podcast episode on Monday coming up because I'll be out of state. And it really sucks because locals is on Thursday. And I'm not going to be able to go tomorrow because I'm not going to be there. I want to play Yugioh so bad right now. I want to play Edison format so bad, like in person though, because it's so much better in person. But I really want to play that bad that I don't even want to go to Miami as much because of just how much I want to play Edison format. Like, I love it. It's so fun in person. Like seeing Silverman, McCabe, me, and like all my other friends playing this old ass format together. We haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh together in almost a decade. Like McCabe quit a while ago, right?
Yeah.
Silverman kind of quit too because he was just vending all the time at every YCS. So for a while, I was the only one out of our little posse that was still playing at YCSs and being super competitive. And it's so interesting now to see all 3 of us playing cards. Like round 1 pairings are up and we're all going to it. Like it's just, we're all old as shit now and we're just still playing. It's nice. It's just nice.
It is. Like, nice is the only way you could describe it. Like, it's just nice.
It's just nice. It's just nice.
It's just nice. Like,
let me see if there's anything. What's your UDE day? You said you have UDE day on here as one of your.
UDE was something that you probably didn't get to experience, but UDE day is when they were transferring from UDE to Konami.
I was there.
Did you play that?
There was one in the Philly Convention Center. I did. I played against Anthony Alvarado and I got destroyed.
Do you remember who won yours?
Anthony Alvarado might have gotten first or second. I feel like he was there. I remember this is when he was big too. He's a big guy then.
Yeah.
This is my first time playing him. He's beat me twice. I don't know if you remember, but in 2011, I taught with Plants. Top 32, he's playing fucking some deck that can make Notoria Beast turn 1. Maybe
Karakuri.
He's playing that.
So that's the YCS Toronto, right?
Yep.
So that's when me and Ant both come with the Karakuri deck, and we both end up topping.
Yep.
And
I topped and he eliminated me because my hand was 1-for-1, Dandy, Tour God, Monster Reborn, Pot of Avarice, Scapegoat. And he goes, turn 1 Notoria Beast. My hand is broken. My hand against any other deck, you're dead.
Thank God Beast isn't in Edison.
Yeah. Notoria Beast is wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Anthony Alvarado, that was my second time playing him, and I'm sure he didn't remember me from back in 2008 when he played me at UDE Day. But UDE Day, I think they were giving out Cybersteins. They were giving out everything. Yeah.
So all the prize cards that were ever given, they had so many that they sent them to the tournament organizers to do UDE Day, and first place got to pick whichever prize card. Wow. Second place got to pick what was left. So we had 2 UDE Days, and Lazaro wins both.
God damn.
So like Lazaro, if like this transfer, so the transfer from Konami from UDE to Konami is what kind of started our quitting.
Yeah.
Because when Konami finally took over and a YCS was finally announced, like our team, our players, like Overdose they were no longer playing. And like we just came back with just us and like traveling to events, yeah, we knew people, but it didn't feel the same.
Yeah.
And Lazaro could have probably far exceeded it. I still think Lazaro has the most prize cards. He had winning Costa Mesa was like giving one of each prize card, so
Yeah, that shit is unfair. He has so many.
Kind of cheating there.
Yeah.
But like I come third in UDE day in Toronto, and then I get really sick that night, and I don't get to travel to the next one. Lazar wins both. He gets 2 crush cards. We pretty much like my card masters team. We only don't claim 2 prize cards for that weekend.
That's insane.
Like I think that's like one of these forgotten tournaments in Yu-Gi-Oh history that people forget, which was awesome.
I remember it only because of Anthony Alvarado, because this is when I was nobody and I was also bad. Like I acknowledged that I played Teledad and I thought I was the shit. But when I played him, it was so apparent to me that I was still like an infant when it came to like technical play. Because he handedly dismantled me. I felt it. I felt that he was better than me. I remember the feeling of we're playing the exact same cards. We're both going D-Draw, Malicious, and Stratos, and Teleport, and doing all the same stuff. But for whatever reason, he's just doing it better than me. And like, I got 2-0'd, and I was like, I told my friends, I was like, yeah, I just played against Anthony Alvarado, and I got beat bad. And they're like, what happened? I was like, I don't even know. Like, I just lost. Like, I drew fine. Like, I drew Allure, D-Draw, Stratos, like everything. And he drew the same. I was like, we drew the same cards, basically. No crush card happened or anything like that. But I was like, I just got beat. Like, I just got beat.
So in the Teledad format, I think it's a feature match, but I do one of the craziest plays where I bluff crush card, so my opponent doesn't make a big board against me. So I go banish Malicious, 4 Malicious, set Solemn, go.
Oh no.
He doesn't make the big board, and then next turn, the extra Malicious is enough to set up a Dark Arm kill for game through 1 back row, because I have the Solemn. Because he thought it was crush, and he didn't make that play. He couldn't make it.
Not okay. That is so ignorant. I would fall for that too. I would fall for that right now.
Oh yeah, I fall for shit now in Edison because I've only played like 6 matches.
Yeah. I play once a week, so like I get to play a couple matches every week. Like technically, I guess on Dueling Book we play a lot though. But
I'm coming back to Edison because like my other group of friends in Toronto, like not my closest group, they're like, "Hey, I saw you were playing Edison." I'm like, no, I was getting destroyed on Edison. I wasn't really playing. But he's like, "Oh yeah, a bunch of us are starting to pick it up." So all I got to do is open my closet, look through the Edison stack.
Yeah.
And
Did you I guess because I'm so interested in the Edison thing, I was going to ask. So you mentioned like the Flamvel Monarch deck, which I don't even know. When you say Flamvel Monarch, how many Monarchs are we talking about?
Well, okay, it's not even Flamvel Monarch, it's Flamvel Caius deck.
Okay, good. Because I was like, I'm pretty sure you just mean Caius, but I wanted to make sure you verified that.
It's basically level 8 spam because, like you said, you want to special summon a lot, and it plays one of the best cards in special summoning and rekindling.
That card's crack.
It's broken, right? But it's just you have to play shitty cards to make it useful. So I came back to that and played that first, and I thought it was strong, but
yeah, getting an attack off now is hard. I found.
Yeah.
Every monster I attack face down kills my guy every single time. It's either Snowman Eater or Raikou, like every single time. And then when it's not that, it's always a deep prison or a bottomless. So getting off a fire dog is like honestly, Dale, I can't even imagine at my local because of how all the decks everyone plays like so many traps. At my locals, I can't even imagine getting a fire dog attack off. I cannot imagine that resolving.
Yeah,
that's how bad it is. Like maybe it's just my local that's like that, but I cannot like even if it's not that, it's a spy.
Yep.
There's nothing that people set that will ever be able to be beat by Fire Dog, and the only thing that I could ever catch is a Stratos if he has no back row for some reason. Like that's it in the entire form. Everyone is playing all of these cards that Dog cannot beat.
Yeah, and it was very different back then because like Gladiator Beast was still being played,
and gadgets.
Yeah, and gadgets. Dog pimps both those decks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
It's crazy. Like, there's nothing that dog beats now. I wanted to play Flamvell too because at first I was like, well, one of the keys to the format is Soul Charge. Soul Charge is a broken ass card in Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2014, and Rekindling has the exact same effect as Soul Charge, essentially. Bring out a bunch of monsters for nothing, and then make a bunch of guys. You can attack. Yeah. You can attack. Yeah. So, like, I thought that Rekindling was going to be really good, and then I realized the same thing you did. You have to play all these bad cards, but then more importantly, I was like, dog just cannot get off. Like, the situation for dog to kill a monster, it has to be so ideal for you. Like, you heavy stormed them, and they were just caught slipping. Like, so, like, you're not going to just get it off with any back. Like, every back row is either Deep Prison, Bottomless. Those are like the main ones, and then people still play like Torrential Mirror Force. So, like, those are the other ones. It's like there's no back row. Like, what Book of Moon? He's at his 200 defense. Anything can beat it.
Yeah. And the way I was playing that deck is clear the back row first with either Caius or Flip Spy Commandant, pop the back row, and then turn, not necessarily attack with the Fire Dog if I couldn't, but turn the first level 4 with like a Flamevell Magician into a level 8, into a Stardust, and use Stardust to attack face down.
Yeah.
When there was no back row. But like, I'm trying to play fair Yu-Gi-Oh! When
that's
fair
so fair. What you just described is so fair. And it's so like it's fine. Funny story. So on my way to finally go undefeated at my little local on Sunday this past week, I round 2 play against a guy who's playing Flamvell, and game 1 I Neuralize him. You know, everything's going great, and I Neuralize him, and I also have Necroguard in my grave, which is like the most ideal setup you could possibly have. So I have Phantom of Chaos on the field. I have a graveyard Necroguard, and my graveyard is pretty nice too. And I pass. He's top decking, of course. I draw for Neuralize. I forget what it was, but it wasn't anything relevant. This motherfucker immediately goes draw, summon Fire Dog, attack. I was like, holy shit, that was a really good top deck. Luckily, it doesn't do anything. I'm just gonna banish Necroguard now. So I draw again. So I have 2 cards in my hand. I draw for turn, and I was like, okay, that was a little scary. But then I do something to. Oh, okay. I draw a Dark Arm, and I look at my graveyard after I Necroguard, and I had exactly 3. I was like, well, that was convenient, even though I didn't need it because Phantom of Chaos could just banish anything and attack over dog. So I was like, oh, well, that was convenient. So I draw a Dark Arm, I go summon Dark Arm. Then I'm debating on popping, but I was like, you know what? The game won't be won by life points. It's gonna be won when you just give up, basically, or like when I just do a lot. So I went summon Dark Arm attack over your Flamevell Fire Dog, and then I end my turn with, because I have a normal summon, I go summon 2800 Red Eyes Darkness Metal from grave. So now he's top decking again. I have Phantom of Chaos, Dark Armed, and Colossus Fighter. He goes draw, activate Brain Control, take Dark Arm, pop, pop, pop. I was like, hold on, it's not done now. So I was like, holy shit, that was nuts. He goes, he said Phantom of Chaos doesn't keep his stats, right? I said no. So he goes, Dark Arm attack it, 2800, pop your Red Eyes Darkness Metal, pop Dark Arm. He has exactly 2 darks in the grave that I discarded from the turn 1 with Neuralize. So now I'm really annoyed now. Like, now I'm actually fucking annoyed. So he passes back to me. We both have a clear field now. I go draw, pass. He goes draw, Rekindling.
This is game 2 though? You won game 1?
This is all game 1.
Oh my!
This is the same game that he got Neuralize turn 1. He goes draw, Rekindling. And so in order, it was Flamevell Fire Dog, then it goes Brain Control, then it goes Rekindling. One at a time, just like that. Now with Rekindling, he goes make Colossal Fighter, because I have another Red Eyes. Colossal Fighter, kill your fucking Red Eyes.
Have the Red Eyes.
So attack directly. So I was like, I'm going to lose this game. I'm actually going to fucking lose to you, who's top decking with 0 cards, and you just drew runner, like in a row. It was crazy. People were watching. They were like, holy shit, that's insane. And then I drew for a turn. I drew Dark Creator. And I was like, oh, I think you're actually dead. And I have 5 darks. I go summon Dark Creator in attack mode. I go banish a guy to summon back Phantom of Chaos. Phantom of Chaos, banish Dark Arm to pop and not kill them. But that game was crazy.
See, why, like, all the YouTube videos that are out there, why isn't like this a YouTube video of a local versus just people playing fair games? Like this, that needed to be recorded.
Right.
Like, that's insane. I love Yu-Gi-Oh! Though. I still like.
It's so
love that.
It's bad. It's bad. It's addicting. Like how you said you tried to do Master Duel and couldn't get past the tutorial. Unluckily for me, I was away from home at the time. I was away from home for like 2 weeks. Because I was away from home, you kind of just do shit that you don't normally do when you're away from home. So I had my laptop. I almost never actually used my laptop. I was like, whatever, I got nothing to do. I'll download Master Duel, check it out. And because I had time, because I wasn't home, I ended up getting past the tutorial, and now I fucking play Master Duel every day.
I know. I every time I hear your video and you're talking about you were talking about Dragon Maids, I was like, I'm gonna look at this.
They're a fucking fun ass deck. I mean, they're not even close to tier 1. But sometimes they make a board, and going into turn 2 or turn 3, they fucking feel tier 1. Like, if they can make it to turn 2 or turn 3, it's really hard to beat them. But the problem is other people make crazier boards.
Crazier boards than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're fun. I made dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are really fun. But Ultimate Conductor Tyranno is an unfair card. Fraser asked me a funny question. He was like, could even Dragon Maids beat like Edison? I was like, it's not even close. Like, new Yu-Gi-Oh is just not fair.
Yeah. Like, I knew the answer, but I wanted you to say how disrespectful it would be.
Like, there's not a deck, a combination. There's nothing Edison format could do that could beat this rogue deck. Like, it's not even possible.
Yeah. One of the
because they turn one make Stardust Assault mode. Not actually Stardust Assault mode, but they make Dragon Maid Yugioh, which is if your opponent activates a card, negate it. Like, they make that turn 1.
Insane. I don't know if Fraser like this because you kind of still know current Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, one of my favorite things about current Yu-Gi-Oh is reading new cards and posting it in like my
that shit is so funny. It's so funny, Dale.
I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. And it all started by, I think, like, when Red Reboot came to hand, I'm like, hey guys, Solemn Judgment from hand into traps then. Or when what's it called? What's that other trap that makes you have the same amount of cards as your opponent?
Evenly matched. That card is out of control.
Oh my god.
Wrote it. I'm like, hey, what if Yu-Gi-Oh made a card like this? I just wrote an effect, and they're like, yeah, no, nothing. I'm like, and then I just pasted the photo. I'm like, this exists. This card actually exists.
What about, I was playing on Master Duel, knew that fucking trap trick? I think it's trap trick. It's the trap card where you can play a trap from your deck and play it this turn, and you banish it or whatever. Guy goes Ojama Trio, trap trick, and then Ojama Duo, and just fills my board with Ojama tokens.
Insane.
What? Yeah, in one turn. Because he's that trap trick, I think that's the name of the trap, and Ojama Trio, and he flips both of them, gets Ojama Duo from his deck, plays it, and now my board is filled with Ojama tokens. I was like, what the fuck?
It's crazy.
The one that was funniest to me, when I posted in the group chat, was Dragoon. When Dragoon first came out, I posted that in the group chat, and we literally kept laughing. We laughed out loud at how many things it did that were not okay. Like, Dragoon is 3,000 attack. He could pop guys. He does Ring of Destruction when he does that. He can negate anything. He gains 1,000 when he negates anything. He also cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. It just kept going. It just wouldn't stop. I said, yo, tell me this doesn't seem like when people do those things where they create a card. Because
when they make Goku, they go, oh, what if Goku was a Yu-Gi-Oh card?
He doesn't look real either. He's like a fusion of Dark Magician and Red Eye. So it looks like a fan-made card to begin with. And then the effect looked fan-made as fuck. So when they first announced Dragoon way back when, I read it. I said, this is fan-made. Like, this is a fan-made card. And it just wasn't. It was real.
I remember my cousin reading the effect to me. He was like, Kenny, I'm going to read you an effect of a modern Yu-Gi-Oh card. And then he reads it. I go, oh my God, that's broken. And he goes, I'm not done. And he continues to read it. And I go, oh my God, that's broken. He goes, I'm not done. Like he keeps reading this fucking effect.
Right.
Like, yo, what the fuck?
The best is like, when I do it and I tell him a card, I'm like, oh, I guess what? No one plays this card. Like, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, this card is so broken, but the game is so crazy that no one plays this card.
Dude, my one friend couldn't believe it when I told him, because I had a friend that said that, like, old school Yu-Gi-Oh, if you played with, like, all the banned cards, and you were able to use all the banned cards, Chaos Emperor Dragon, Yatagarasu, he was like, that would be able to stand up to modern Yu-Gi-Oh! I was like, no, it wouldn't. I was like, first of all, Chaos Emperor Dragon has never been effect veilered. So, like,
Yeah.
That just stops him right there. But secondly, I was like, do you realize Raigeki is at 3? Like, during the format when Raigeki's at 3. Like, they don't care about these cards anymore.
Yeah, they could literally just like block off formats, block off years, and it wouldn't make a difference in the game. So they could like literally just section off certain types of Yu-Gi-Oh, and you could play like Golden Age, Silver Age, or however you want to call it.
Yeah,
And
it'd
it
be
wouldn't
fun.
current.
There's a lot of fun formats.
Oh man, I love Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh's fucking great.
Yeah.
we are passing the 2-hour mark at this point. I have the pack for Miami, so I'm gonna call it. Dale,
Yeah.
we got a lot covered, but we still have a lot on your list that we can cover the next time you come on, which, you know, we can schedule that for some time later. But
Before we go, right now, your favorite deck is the Diva Hero.
In Edison?
Yeah, and Edison. And Edison.
It's definitely between the top two, Diva Hero and Vayu Turbo, because Vayu Turbo gets to play under oppression.
yeah, that's so
which is cool.
strong. That is so strong.
But
Have you tried any of the Dragon Turbo decks?
That's the deck that knocked me out of like winners semifinals in the first time I came back.
Oh wow.
And it was the guy that gave me that deck was the guy that beat me was the guy that I asked all my information from. So James Ark, Jimmy Johnson is
Okay.
like Joe mentions him. Like he's a friend of Joe's too.
Yeah.
And he's very big in retro Yu-Gi-Oh right now. But yeah, he's like, yeah, this is the best deck, the Dragon deck, and I just couldn't. He dropped a Quacko Meru Drago, and like I remember not being able to play.
Yep. So funny. Another quick little story, but this past weekend, as I said, I played the Neuralis deck for the first time, and round 1, my opponent goes summon Quackimeo Draco, and my hand is Future Fusion and the fucking stones, and I have to scoop. I didn't show him any cards. I just scooped. I was like, let's go to game 2. He was like, wait, really? I was like, yeah, let's just go to game 2. He's like, what happened? I was like, I think I messed up my deck or something. I don't know. Let's just go to game 2. I just went to game 2, and then I backdoor 2 of them. But when I tell you that the odds of me running into it, he was playing actual dragons, Mash Dragon, fucking Petite Dragon, like Exploder Dragon, actual dragons. He's playing actual dragons, and I fucking lost because he plays 3 Quackimeo Draco, and that card just put it in. There's no outs to it in my deck.
Have you? That's a top tier deck though. It plays Totem Dragon, right?
I think so.
No, that's actually a top tier Edison deck.
Oh, was it really? I didn't know. I just saw Quackimeo Draco turn 1, and he went reveal Quackimeo Draco pass. And I said, are you fucking kidding me? You have 2 of them.
It's actually a top deck.
Yeah, mind you, I didn't show any emotion. When he summoned and did the thing, I just completely stone-faced, and I saw my hand. I was like, all I thought to myself as I shuffled my hand was, holy shit, my hand is godly. It was like trade in, Neuralis, Future Fusion, Necro Gardener, Card Destruction, Heavy Storm, like the fucking absolute stone cold nuts. Your opponent's gonna rage when you do it. And yeah, I had to scoop. So that did not feel good. But let me give a shout out to our patrons over at Patreon. As always, we really appreciate you guys who are supporting the podcast. So we have the day ones, Connie, Austin, Leon, Quest, Garen, Xavier, Hylian, TCG Automotive, Silver Chronic, Tyree Tinsley, Dimitri Barnes, Alexander Brissett, Vinny Casello, Dominic Roberts, Game Freak Yoshi, Alex Flamer, Michael, Gabe Marini, Andre Reynolds, CJ, WK-1, Saul at Dabbers Gaming Cafe in Georgia, Dan Varable, Dennis Milburn, Joseph Marcello, Scott Page, and Ezeka, who is subscribed at the $100 tier. Thank you so much. Well, yeah, as always, guys, as I say this every time, do the things that make you happy. Right now, Edison format is keeping me and a lot of my friends happy. It sounds like Dale's also on board. It's really fun. There's going to be another tournament online for Edison format on March 26th, I believe. And the guy who runs those tournaments, he's the same guy who ran the last RBET tournament that had 144 players. He's coming on the podcast in March before the tournament to talk about Edison format, to talk about how he, has been helping to get the community aboard, on board with this whole thing and just running the tournaments and everything. He also does commentary when he hosts, but yeah, so he'll be on. He'll be a special guest. And we have some other Yu-Gi-Oh special guests coming in March as well. So yeah, if you're interested in that type of thing, then, subscribe, hit that like button. Apparently rating the podcast does something for us. So if you guys can, if it's not too much to ask, if you can give us 5 stars on Apple and Spotify and all that stuff, apparently it helps with algorithms. So yeah. Dale, is there anything you want to say before we go?
No, I mean, Time flies.
Time does
Doing
fly.
this.
Really, it really does. I can't believe it's been 2 hours.
Bro, when we were at 9
Too
minutes, I
fast.
looked at the clock and I said, damn, we're only at 9 minutes. And then it's now 2 hours and 9 minutes. So
Like I sent you a write-up and like it's not even
halfway. Not even half.
Not even close.
Not even half.
And there was like there's some tea there too that
Oh, I can't wait. I'm so interested in some of this stuff. But this is good though. You put so much shit on here that like I said, you're going to be a recurring guest throughout the year, so it's not a big deal. God willing, but all of us stay alive. we will we will record again. So Dale will be back.
God willing, we don't get IRL monarched.
Yeah. So Kai is singing to the Shadow Realm. But yeah, so we will have Dale back on. Dale's becoming a favorite guest on the podcast. So first recurring guest outside of Anthony. But Anthony's our Anthony fucking streams with Kenny. He's like a partner in Critical Hit Plus. Kenny streams on Twitch at Critical Hit Plus. Right now, what are you streaming right now, Kenny?
I've been going back and forth between Master Duel, the new Pokemon game, and Monster Hunter GU.
Okay, so you've been streaming a lot of different games.
But also Elden Ring either just came out or it's coming out this weekend. Anthony's going to be streaming Elden Ring with Hard Body.
I heard nothing but good things about that.
Yeah.
I read a review today that said it was insane.
Yeah, so we're going to be streaming a bunch of Elden Ring. Also, as a random side note, because one of our patrons is Dabbers Gaming Cafe, I just want to say that because of Edison format, Mr. Dabbers, you've gotten business, all right?
Yeah.
Just letting you know. I'm just letting you know. You go to TCG Player, I'm buying cards, and I'm like, oh, I legit bought a couple cards, and I was like, Dabbers? I was like, where? I was like, oh, shit, that's a patron. And I was like, okay, so every time I buy cards, I go, okay, I'm looking for Dabbers first.
Yeah.
And if I see Dabbers, I buy it from there. And the second thing I look for, just because of Fraser, is ARG. If ARG's selling a card, I'll buy it from them just because of Fraser. And then after that, I don't fucking care who the vendor is.
Yeah, Dabbers, it's interesting. So I know Saul personally from Georgia. He's one of my close friends. We're really cool. We hang out at YCS's back in the day. And he's let me come over his house multiple times, throughout the course of my time going to Atlanta. And now he has like this card store, which is amazing. And when I went on TCG Player to spend, $4K on Edison format cards, I saw the same thing. I was like, holy shit. And they have a lot of sales too. So it's not only like we're buying it from him because he's a patron and we support him like he supports us, but I also like buying from people who have 99% or 100% and they have 10,000 plus sales, or in his case, I think it has 100,000 plus sales. Like he has a lot of sales. So Dabbers is up there and their prices are actually decent. And what I like, one of my favorite things about TCG Player, this is not an ad, but I do like when you can do the seller and cart thing. So that way you get like less packages and just get all your shit from one place. So I've been doing that. But
that said, if TCG Player wants to sponsor Fraser Smith, one of the most prolific Yu-Gi-Oh players, I mean, I'm just
we could try to get some TCG Player sponsorship going on. But this fucking Phoenician Cluster Amaryllis thing, this card is so rare. Like I only order near mint. So that's the first thing. Maybe that's my fault, but I only order cards near mint. I don't order anything else. And there were like legit 3 or 4 of these on the entire TCG Player, and they were all $40. So I just bought 3 of them. And I technically, this is not seriously, but I technically can name my own price now because I have them all. Like I have all the ones that are on TCG Player. Like it's kind of weird.
I'm sure I have a stack because Raging Battle, I got a bunch of free stuff from that.
It's only a super rare too, so you might actually.
I might at least have a playset. I'm sure I do. I never need to sell any of my stuff anyways.
Me either. I used to say so. I was going to say this a while ago. I'm just going to end with this, but I did spend a lot on max rarity my extra deck. But then I thought about it. With inflation of Yu-Gi-Oh cards over the pandemic and just in the 10-year period, I'm not going to sell them anyway. And in 10 years, they're just going to be worth even more money.
Yes.
Like I'm going to spend $4,000, but I'm probably going to make more than double of that if 10 years pass and Yu-Gi-Oh's not into oblivion. Like just from the collector value of the cards that doesn't really go away. Like spending money on Yu-Gi-Oh cards that are really expensive now to me is more like an investment than it is just to have shiny cardboard.
Yeah.
It's like Yu-Gi-Oh has reached a maturity where it's that.
Yeah. Edison also hasn't hit its peak like Go format has. Like if you've seen the price of max rarity Go control deck is over 10K.
God damn.
One deck is 10K. Like, so quickly on this is I didn't want to invest in a full Go format deck. So my Go format deck is original print OCG big box, small text box, Yu-Gi-Oh. So I have every card that is printed like that. Do you know like the original Konami print, where like the attack box is in a square?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have like any card that could be
That's pretty
printed
cool.
that way. That's my deck because I'm not spending 10K on one
No
deck.
way.
Yeah.
No way. I went out of my way to when I got the Upstart Goblins. I went out of my way to get the Upstart Goblins that still said Magic card on them.
Oh, okay, yes, I would do that. Like OG rarity to me is one of the best.
Yeah. Damn, ballin'. Let me order. So I need to get an Ulti Solemn Judgment. They're $140.
Stop.
$140. So I'm checking my cart because my cart right now is 6K.
Yeah.
But it's for every. It's like Ulti Aliases, Cyber Dragons, Ulti Book of Moons, Ulti Solemn, Ulti Pot Averages, Torrential, all first edition.
I went the opposite. I went lowest rarity.
Ulti
I got
Stratos,
all my cards common.
Ulti Bottomless are not Ulti Bottomless, Super Bottomless are $250. Ulti Future Fusions $95. Trap Dushies $350. So I got this $6,000 cart going on right now, and I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I'm thinking about it.
I got every card in my deck common except fucking Gores because Gores doesn't come common. But every other card's common in my deck. I was like, fuck it.
Do what you gotta do, man. Get it how you live.
But all right.
All right, Dale. Well, it was good having you, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace out.
For sure.
All right.
Later.